Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley.
Hello, David.
Sean Bell.
Hello.
And Matt Murray.
Hello, David.
How's it going, everyone? We all alright?
Yeah, loving it.
Yeah, fine, I suppose.
No, Sean, it's fine. We're good.
Sean.
So, I'm really pumped to talk about video games for 3 hours.
It's great. We got through another day. That's the way you got to look at it.
We did. We got through another day, another week, even. Yeah. And they're saying we might be allowed to go to the pub in the new year, so that's something.
What new year?
I know you're waiting for that, Sean. I can't wait to get down your local spoons.
Beer, Dave. Just want beer.
Just want a bloody Carling.
Genuinely concerned. I'm going to give it a couple of months' grace before I go to a pub, I think.
Are you mental?
Genuinely. Nope. Because there's going to be a lot of beer that people will want to get rid of that has been sitting around for quite a while. So I think I'll just let those pipes... get used a few times. I'll let those kegs run out, and then I'll get involved, I think. Also, to be honest with you, I weren't really going to the pub beforehand. I've been a hermit for a while. It's more things like...
I mean, I'm there with you, but also, like, that first night everyone's allowed out will be insane. It will be insane.
There'll still be bottled
carnage.
beer, Matt.
I want to be
There'll still be
that.
bottled beer. With that lovely best before date printed on the bottle. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to drinking a healthy beer.
Yeah.
Go on.
I think that beer might be cheap. Basically, I'm just like, it's going to be a mental night or whatever, so I just can't wait.
It's going to be mental 2 weeks later as well when the second wave hits. It's,
exactly. Get in.
Fucking
there.
hell, James, mate. Look, I know you've got your thing going on, right? You've got your moody thing going on. Can you not be about that? Thanks. We would like to thank our Patreon producers this month. They are Aaron Patrick, Anthony Okerson, and Tom S. Thank you so much for going full Nels, because they went full Nels. We have different tiers on patreon.com/TCGS. If you would like to support us, pop on today. There's a bonus show, which is quite fun. We're doing something with that. Suddenly, we've got a plan for that show, and it's going somewhere, and I'm quite excited.
We've got multiple plans, haven't we?
We have. But the one that we've put into place, Matt, is going somewhere, and it's making me very excited. When was the last? When did that one come out?
Friday.
So yeah, there's a brand new one sitting there waiting for you at the $5 tier.
Yeah, and you can listen to all the others, of course. We made all of them free apart from last month, and now obviously this month. So there's a couple that you haven't listened to if you become a subscriber now. And
then you've got the Talks Over stuff that you can see a month early. We're going to be recording that hopefully this week. Definitely by next week, because that is when the month ticks over. Cutting it fine.
Definitely this week.
Cutting it fine. And believe it or not, this is a this is a Patreon. When we hit a certain tier, we launch this, so we should keep you all informed. And you don't have to be a Patreon supporter to listen to this, but there's a Star Calls coming. There's a bloody Star Calls coming. It's not recorded yet, but it's going to be recorded soon, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Yeah. You looking forward to it, James?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. All right. Please sign up to our Patreon. Listen to how excited the fucking presenter is. Right. Should we get on to feedback from last week's show?
Yeah, there's not a lot this week, but what we got is...
What? Why not?
Just because basically we didn't say a single thing controversial or incorrect, or it's just solid, solid the whole way through. So people don't feel the need to correct us. Lou Proctor has sent us a tweet, Louis P on Twitter, of course. CD Projekt Red didn't say PS4 players won't get the PS5 version of Cyberpunk included at no extra charge. They said they're waiting for Sony to announce details of how that stuff will work before they talk about it. My guess is that it will be identical to Xbox.
Is this a classic case of tweeting us before we finish talking? Because didn't we go on to say that's still very much a
it might be that, or it might be a classic case of James saying things. I don't know if...
That's also a valid point. That is also a valid point. I can't remember the discussion. So Louis might be right there, but it's important to point that out. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we also talked about eating shrimp. So yeah, because it's like, anyway, we had a question about eating. And he goes on to say he's vegan these days, but it's way quicker just to eat the entire shrimp. And if they're roasted or barbecued, the shell goes nice and crispy.
I used to do that as well, because sometimes, especially if there's a really good sauce on it and everything, it's just like, whatever.
What made you stop doing that, James?
Well, no, because it's the illness, isn't it, obviously?
Yeah, you used to, but actually almost died.
You used to eat the shell?
Yeah, sometimes you do. If it's coated in really good sauce.
Doesn't the sauce like soften the shell up a bit?
Yeah, it's all like softened. Cause honestly, I ate a lot of those when I lived in China. A lot.
I mean, I know like Louis suggesting the opposite, that it's good when it's crispy, but I don't know.
That's like someone emailing in and going, here's a point I would like to make about your show, and then 5 minutes later going, oh, by the way, I am insane. So you kind of go, well, should I listen to that first point now or not? Were we right last week? What, eating the shell and the eyes and that? Ugh, and the eggs
not the
eyes
and
feet.
stuff. Just the other
so you take the eyes out.
Hang on, Dave. Shrimp don't have feet.
No, that's just what my granddad used to call them.
Okay. What shrimp?
Got to take the feet off. So I like lovingly referring to my granddad there. Why are you mocking that?
Yep.
Oh, thanks. Brilliant. He passed.
Going in 2-footed.
So,
wow,
nice one.
Wow.
We'll move on. After James slagged off David's dead grandfather. Lee Sparks at Bolt7 on Twitter. Unsure if you've had other messages.
My dad's still alive.
I said grandfather.
All right, okay. You must have cut out the grand bit on
this
Discord.
Is like hammer time
He
on
did
it.
say father on mine, so yeah.
Did he say?
Yeah,
Did he say?
Yours.
What was the word he got wrong? Hammersmith.
Hammerstrong.
He's been hammerstrung.
Hammerstrong.
Anyway, I said grandfather.
Is this another one of those where you'll just blindly ignore the fact that you said the wrong? Okay, whatever. Let's go.
Lee Sparks at Bolt7 on Twitter. Unsure if you've had other messages about this, but I thought I'd mention it's worth turning down the light bar settings on your DualShock 4 pads from normal to dim. If you haven't already done so, it saves a fair bit of battery.
Yeah, I've already done that.
Yeah, it's not a game changer, but it helps. And I think I have done that when Phil mentioned that tip a while back. But this is interesting. Dial it back up next time you pop on a VR headset, though, as the camera needs to see that light bar. Well, on the new pad, I mean, which is fine, that makes sense. On the new pad, there is no light bar at the front. So if turning it from normal to dim could potentially cause issues, I'm still fascinated to know what's going to happen.
Well, surely the DualSense is just going to run on different technology, right? Because I've never seen any other VR controller that has a light on the front to make sure it works. So
correct.
Well, yeah, but it's more like people who have the current PSVR working on PS5, which I say it does. Do I have to keep a DualShock 4 around?
I see, yeah, for compatibility reasons.
Probably, yeah. Yes. We've been through this.
We have. Can we just move on?
And in the future, this won't be an issue.
Just keep old shit around. And I'm like, no, I want to sell the whole lot and then get PS5. But now I have to keep an old pad around, aren't I?
All right, it's fine. Just go on.
No.
Yes, I am, Dave. Clearly,
you'll be playing You're going to be playing PS5 games and stuff. Like you could be playing the new PSVR stuff on it.
Yeah, but if I want to play
with the new controllers,
if I want to play, if I want to play my current PSVR on PS5,
right,
I will have to keep the current pad.
Let's go through this.
Who cares,
Matt?
Oh, come on! From a preservation point of view,
well, who cares, James? PSVR 2 isn't going to be out for at least another year or two, probably longer. Given
okay, let's go through this. Let's go through this. What if the technology within the PS5 is able to track the pad in the same way as that light bar and the camera, Matt?
Well, I'll be loving that. I won't have to keep my old pads.
Well, there we go then. Problem solved, isn't it?
Louis Belfort on Twitter. Feedback from Matt. It's Louis, not Lewis. Not that it matters, but it does beg the question: how does he pronounce Louis Theroux? Yes, it's. I mean, I can see your name's Louis. I think maybe I'm getting confused with someone else.
In Matt's defence, this is because we sometimes get emails from Mike Pettit, who we've used to pronounce Mike Petit, which he corrected us. It's actually Pettit. So now whenever there's a French-looking name, it's like, oh, hang on a minute, was this the one? Yeah, he does not pronounce the French word.
Is this Louis Belfort or Louis Belfort? Anyway, I'm sorry, Lou.
It kind of sucks. I'm sure people that have names that people mispronounce all the time, it must get incredibly frustrating. But at the same time, when you've got a name like David Turner, it's like you do kind of wish you had a little bit of say about your name. Interesting.
I hate the fact that my name is only 2 syllables. Sean Bell. Fucking,
it's free.
It's crap.
When you can say your name completely paralytic perfectly, it's a bit Sean Bell. It's like, oh god damn it. Yeah, Yeah, okay. There was a guy in my mum's office when I was younger that used to think it was hilarious to call me Divad.
Oh, right.
And it just, I remember being, I think I was about 11, and sort of just shaking my head at him, just going, "What are you doing, mate? That's not even clever. That's rubbish. Is he trying to get a laugh?"
Have you seen the episode of Bing where Pando keeps calling him Bingly Bangly? And Bing loses his shit, and it's like, "Oh, Bing, don't get so..." And it's like, no, to be fair, that's annoying as fuck. Yeah. I would be really annoyed if that was
It's bullying, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know who that is. Who was it? Who was it that's doing that to Bing?
Pando.
It might as well call Pando David Turner, because that is exactly what. The moment I know, like, I see that Bing was getting wound up by that, that'd be it. Every time I see him. You're like, Bingly Bangly? You son of a... Right, okay, go on. Sorry, I'm using that phrase a lot because I've watched a lot of Back to the Future for the past couple of days. Harry's suddenly got into Back to the Future, and it's been a joy to behold. Yeah. Oh, did I not tell you about this? So you watched the first... I put the first film on for him. Yeah. And firstly, I didn't realise how much swearing was in it. And I mean, it's only, it's low-level swearing.
Yeah.
But it's still stuff that I'm kind of like, he's only 6. This might be a little bit too much. But
that's one of those things, though, that I've really noticed recently with watching stuff with my kids. Is like anything that's from like the 80s or 90s, you put it on and it's like, whoa, there was a lot of swearing in these films. Like,
there's tits in Back to the Future too.
Yeah,
what certificate is
there?
There
is a...
Yeah, when he looks at the porno magazine and ooh la la,
yeah,
ooh la la, and he flips to a page and you see a breast. So I mean, I paused it. So that didn't help matters. But,
proper look.
I just want to see this bit again, son. Watch out.
Look at
them. So I sat him down in front of the whole first film. It went through the whole film. It got to the end. They got back to the present, back to 1985 or whenever it was. Mm-hmm. And Harry turned around to me and said, "Dad, how did they get back to the future?" And I went, "Son, that was the whole point in the whole film. They spent an hour and a half explaining how they got back to the future. He went to the past, couldn't get back to the future. They put together this whole big plan to get back to the future. Now they're back in the future. What is the matter with you?" And then I realised that he's 6 and he doesn't even understand the concept of time prop. So, a little bit harsh on me there, but lesson learned. Right, okay, should we is that it?
That is it for feedback, yes. At Computer Game Pod on Twitter if you want to tweet us, or you can email podcast@thecomputergameshow.com.
Right, let's get on to the news. And did you send us the news today, James? Because I think I saw it.
I did, but it was so boring that you probably missed it because it's...
No, I saw it. I'll tell you what it is. And this is bad, I'm sorry, but I'm in so many WhatsApp groups now. Since this lockdown started, everyone wants to be in a fucking WhatsApp group. And I'm in so many of them, and it's doing they are popping all day, every day. And I just get to the point where I'm like, when WhatsApp goes off, I'm like, I'm not even going to look anymore. I mean, I've got ones in my immediate family, then separate ones with only certain people in that immediate family. I mean, I think I'm in 6 for my immediate family alone, with certain people excluded. I mean, I can guarantee they've got a lot more than just 6, and I'm not included in a lot of those group chats. But something funny did happen the other day where my dad sent me and my brother and my brother-in-law a video of, it was like a little cartoon. It looked like it might have been on Family Guy, it was in that style. And it said social distancing above it. These groups, you get these fucking videos sent to you, and 99% of them are shit, and 99% of them I've sent. So, it checks out. But it was an old lady, it said social distance above it. It was a cartoon of an old lady hoovering with a really long Hoover extension thing, and then it followed the Hoover down to an old man with his trousers down, and the Hoover was was sucking his dick, right? And he was going, ugh! And that was the joke. And then I remembered that it wasn't just us 4 in it; it was also my 7-year-old nephew was in that group chat. And I remembered that because it was called Turner Boys at the top, and the logo, the little icon thing, was a picture of Fortnite. So I was kind of so I just replied, "Dad, delete this," right? And then nothing. So I called him up and I went, "Dad, what are you doing? You do know, Stanley's in that in that group chat. He went, and this is classic dad, right? He never admits to being wrong, ever. He's James Farley, right? What? He goes, there was once at Christmas... Once at Christmas, no, I admit, I'll hold my hands up, remember, and then I'll make you feel guilty about it due to personal circumstances.
Yeah,
right?
Massive apology.
Exactly right. Like on Christmas Day, he once spilt a whole glass of red wine over my brand new bright white polo shirt that someone had bought me, right? And do you know what he said? Who put that fucking glass there? And we went, you did, Dad. Wow, well, it shouldn't have been there. I know it shouldn't have been there. You put it there and you knocked it over. So anyway, so I rang him up and said, look, our nephew's in there. You can't put stuff like that in there. And he went, well, what's he doing in that group chat? And I went, just say sorry. Just say sorry. Delete it. Say sorry. So anyway, right. So I went back, I hung up, I went back to the group chat, and there was a voice memo from Stanley in that WhatsApp group. And it was whispered that where he said, I've already seen it.
No, he's like I've already forwarded it. Like,
I saw that 2 years ago.
It turns out, like, my brother and his wife were a bit pissed off, but not to the point, like, they could see the funny side of it, right? So they weren't, like, completely pissed off. So I had a chat with them and they laughed about it. Later that evening, no lie, there was a video posted up of Stanley pointing a vacuum cleaner at the camera going, hey, Grandad, is Nan getting the vacuum cleaner out tonight? I almost died laughing. Like, I was throwing up on the floor from laughing so hard. It was genius. But yeah. Anyway, the news. Sorry.
Okay, as I said, it's been a bit of a week. I mean, I know I say that a week. That's right.
Week.
I know I say that most weeks, but this week particularly so. Most of these are just rumours and nonsense. I mean, the first thing I wanted to look at is apparently the next-gen console reveals have now shifted because of E3's cancellation. So it seems this is, Daniel Ahmed, we've talked about him before, he's like Nico Partners analyst guy, who he says that the platform holders have moved around where they were planning to announce things. And Microsoft are planning something in May. I mean, what have Microsoft got left to show? It's just the price, right? Is there anything else they can actually reveal at this stage?
No, they've still got a fair... Yeah, launch games.
Yeah, launch
stuff
games
like
are the big one.
They go into more detail, because right now they've shown us technology, they've shown us some stuff. I think I hope there's a lot more exciting things beneath the hood.
Yeah, could you imagine if that was it? It's now we're just waiting for the console to come out.
Yeah,
they weren't going to show anything else.
It's an Xbox, but it's more powerful, and the pad's got a share button. See you in November.
I'm really surprised at Sony, actually, because Matt said that they were definitely showing it off in February.
Well,
right?
I mean, basically, I think things have moved around.
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because it was the last week in February when we last discussed this, and you said they're definitely
around.
showing it off.
I think moving around.
Yeah.
I think
it's a liquid. You've listened to a podcast say that.
It's a liquid sort of situation, and things are moving around a lot.
It's a liquid situation. Okay, I don't want to know what a liquid situation is, but we'll go with
I'll show you afterwards.
It may. Well. Oh, okay. I was going to. Oh, you ruined that now. Never mind.
No, but keep that in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Either way, it seems that there may be a PlayStation 5 reveal in May, though. That's the rumour now.
Yeah, the rumours we're going to hear from both of them in May. That's
yeah.
Okay.
Exciting. Okay, next story.
I mean, this isn't really news, but obviously people are desperate, so they write anything because they have to. But yeah, it's not news. I mean, obviously everyone's plans for everything on the planet has been thrown into chaos through this COVID-19 stuff. So I'm not surprised about this.
Thanks for the transition, Matt. Gamescom was also
I'm still talking about this fucking news story.
Oh, I love it when Matt does this. When he gets upset that you want to move on, and then he demands that we stay on the subject.
James read out a fluff piece. No one said anything, and then we move on. James says, either we talk about it.
Well, let's see what you got to add.
Well, I was in the middle of it, But what's the point of adding it if, like?
We've already discussed it, Matt. We already squeezed as much out of a rather weak story as we could. And then I wanted to move on.
I don't think we even... It doesn't matter, let's move on.
Go on, continue. What else have you got to say?
Let's hear what you got to say.
What you going to say about it?
I already said what I said about it, and we already discussed it. What do you want to say, Matt, now?
No, let's move on. Pathetic.
Look. I'm usually well on your side here, Matt. You know, I'm usually backing you up in this situation. But
how about...
I think you're. Yeah, that's great, right? You thought that, right? But go on then. Like, lead by example. Go on then. What do you want to add to this that we haven't already said?
Right. E3 is going to happen in June. These things are going to happen in May. If E3 was happening in June...
right, this is just reading
if E3 was happening in June, would this have been earlier or later? Like, I don't know what the lack of E3 is really doing much, really, for this, because I think they would have done something in the early part of the year anyway. This is suggesting, actually, that reveals would have been after E3. Surely.
Suppose so, but it's a liquid situation, isn't it, Matt? So, you know, you can never quite tell. Go on, next news story.
Can I move on now? Yeah, can I just... Okay. So anyway...
James, have you got another news story which there's basically one line of discussion and we move on?
Matt, I did explain to you...
it out on him.
I did explain to you already, Matt, that this week has been rather weak in terms of news.
You said
and
every
these were
week,
really
James,
more
to
of
be
just
fair.
statements. I know, but this, as I said, if you go back and listen to this later, it's particularly weak this week. Yeah, that's why I said week this week, you know, and I went over that again.
Yeah, I got that.
And now you're making me say it again. This is ridiculous.
Right, okay, we've made that point now. Come on, let's move on.
Okay, so Gamescom's live show has also been cancelled. And this is because the German government have announced that all large gatherings will be banned throughout August. And so the Gamescom organisers have confirmed that it's definitely going to take place digitally instead. And they're going to give refunds to anybody who purchased tickets, which is nice, I guess. But yeah, so that's another skittle gone.
What do you instantly think when you hear this stuff? Like, what's your first thought when you hear that all these big events are being cancelled? Because I think the same thing every time.
Go
on. What's happening to the football then?
Oh, okay.
Seriously. Oh, yeah, we're banning everything till August. But what about the football? Like, it's just, that's the first thing that enters my mind.
Yeah, but the football can be behind
mad.
closed doors, and I guess big events like this can't be.
Well, yeah, but then there are also moral issues with having it behind closed doors, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because you've still got to have, like, ambulance people.
It seems a lot of staff involved, not just the...
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's it's a bit of an awkward one. But yeah, fuck, man. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, like, I mean, I'll show you how... I'll tell you how weird this whole thing has evolved, like, and how quickly it's all evolved. It really... Well, I don't think I've said this on the show yet, but I've said it a lot in our WhatsApp group. It really does show us how crazy it was that we were going, are they going to ban Res, though? Are they going to cancel Res? Is that going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, now it's just like, oh, yeah, in August? Yeah, no, definitely, yeah, no, I can see them why they're cancelling that event. It's a fucking mad one, man.
Yep.
But is it true that... what is this called?
Gamescom.
Gamescom.
Yeah.
It's the biggest... Is it the biggest...
It's the biggest one in Europe.
Biggest one, yeah,
in Europe.
Well, no, it's bigger than E3 in terms of people who go there. Way bigger. Like 5 times the size.
I think we should go next year. I think, like Matt was saying a few years back, it's actually technically cheaper than going to EGX in London. So
yeah.
With better food,
shout.
Probably. Yeah.
It'll be a nice celebration of our newfound freedom, although obviously we won't be part of the EU by then. But
We'll struggle to get a pub near the venue booked up. I don't know what our crowd would be like, but I could see Scientologists finally showing up for that. Finally showing his face. Kind of face to face with me and then telling me how I am doing things wrong. And then we'll have a big old dust up and then one of those 2-litre beers. That's how that's going to pan out, I reckon. All right, okay, go on.
And also the other thing that's happened is Konami have indefinitely delayed PES Euro 2020, like DLC, and they've cancelled the boxed edition.
Well, it'd be crazy not to.
This is interesting because we got an email during the week. It was just standard press release about the 2020 Tour de France game, and of course that's probably not going ahead now. So how many sports games are there going to be about events that never actually took place? Like, I mean, everyone's been joking about, Sonic and Mario at the Olympics, Tokyo 2020. That's not an event anymore. There's going to be loads of these, isn't there?
I think so. I mean, there's usually a lot of stuff around the Olympics, isn't there? And all types of the Olympics. Is the Winter Olympic Games on the same year as the actual Olympics?
It's the alternate 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. See, I don't really know. But there's not like a specific Wimbledon game, and
that's true. That
FIFA
seems
still
insane, doesn't it?
Not really, because tennis is like a worldwide sport, isn't it? Wimbledon is like one fixture of a tennis season. So it's like, if you're having a Wimbledon game, you'd have to include like the US Open and Australian Open, I think. Why is Wimbledon? Weird. But yeah, no, it's there are only very specific sports that are dedicated to yearly events or stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think there'll be too many of them. I mean, FIFA 20 will be a weird one, I guess. Like the recent one that's just come out. I wonder if that'll make it rare or not. It probably won't, will it? Because you still see 50 billion copies of them in CEX.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. I'm just speaking my mind. I'm just speaking my mind at this point. Go on.
Okay, next story is that Facebook are launching a dedicated gaming app this week.
Oh,
what does that mean?
It's out now.
Is it?
It's out now on Android, but not on iOS. It's currently awaiting approval. So what this is for creating and watching live gameplay, is what they're saying, and it's supposed to for like casual gaming and for gaming communities or whatever. The reason I like this story is because some of the quotes are really good. So it's got here that Facebook claims that more than 700 million of its 2.5 billion monthly users have already engaged with gaming content. But then Fiji Simo, who's the head of the Facebook app, said investing in gaming in general has become a priority.
No, they haven't. It's like, God.
What?
I'd just be wicked if he just come out with like a completely contradictory statement. No, they haven't. I looked and they fucking haven't. This is a joke, James. Okay. Come on, mate.
Investing in gaming in general has become a priority for us because we see gaming as a form of entertainment that really connects people. It's entertainment that's not just a form of passive consumption, but entertainment that is interactive and brings people together. I mean,
I don't know if it does. No. Has he been in one of these things?
But no, it's just incredible.
It's usually
just
people just having a pop.
Explaining what games are that's a brilliant way of explaining what this is. But anyway, it says the streaming works via the app. It's got a function called Go Live, which lets users upload streams of mobile games on the same device. The whole focus of this, though, is mobile. And it says the new app for streaming because the mobile experience is more intense than computer viewing, is what they said. And
what?
I mean, I don't understand. I mean, this is the full quote.
Not criticising you, James. That is clearly what it says. I just don't understand what it means.
I mean, this is the full quote. We don't want to be the background window in a Chrome tab while someone is doing their homework or doing something else. With mobile, if you have the app open and you're using the app, it's in the foreground. You can't do anything else on your mobile phone, and that is extremely powerful.
That sounds worse.
It does, yeah.
So basically, he's just repackaging a lack of good multitasking on a device as a good thing.
But it also means that
he couldn't get multitasking.
It's a she.
Yeah. She.
Sorry.
What the fuck is she talking about?
Anyone?
No.
Hello?
No.
Everyone bottled it.
I'm looking at the quote again, and I'm just absolutely clueless.
That isn't a she as well, Matt.
Stupid quote.
It's somebody else. It's
also, I assume we're already signed up to this platform, Matt. I'm assuming you're all over this.
Well, it's just Facebook. But that's all it is.
Matt, do you already stream on Facebook?
No, it got complicated, like connecting the page or something. I don't know, for whatever reason. No, I haven't connected that one, but the rest I do.
That sounds like you.
Well,
sounds like you've moved
every
heaven
time
and
I tried
earth
to do
make
it
sure
says
we're
create a new page. I was like, no, we've already got a page. Anyway,
Matt, you're missing out on potentially 2.5 billion people there.
Yeah, watching. That is where our audience is, Matt. You do know that, right?
Facebook's play for Twitch is interesting. I mean, so some big people moved over there, and I look at their numbers now, and you've really fucked up. And obviously, Facebook gave us the money to say, to go exclusively to stream on Facebook. And I know some people jump ship from YouTube because they were like, YouTube algorithms and the demonetization and stuff. But there's one guy called Stone Mountain, and he's like an FPS streamer. He used to get tens of thousands of people on Twitch. I watch now, it's like 130 people, 140 people. And I mean, obviously they gave loads of money, so their probably think is worthwhile. Maybe, and this will be massive for them. This will be really big for people who are streaming on Facebook. I mean,
all five of them.
I can't. I mean, I think it will be big for them, but I can't see it doing anything for anyone else. But more power to them. I mean, it'd be interesting to see the app, but I don't watch any Facebook streams now because I don't go on Facebook.
Viewing figures aren't the be all and end all, though, are they?
No.
It's it's more. It might be better for their career. It might be just a better platform for them to actually use. Who knows? But there's definitely reasons.
It's not about that, but it is about like mind share. I mean, no one's going to Facebook to watch even the big streamers. I mean, because maybe they are. Maybe there's incredibly niche people, but I think these people would be even bigger if they had stayed on their existing platforms or whatever. But
but it depends what you mean by bigger, doesn't it?
Well, just like known in the space. Like, I think it could be easy forgotten if you didn't. I'll say I'll stream on Facebook. No, I haven't got a Facebook account anymore. I deleted that.
And you also got to remember that it takes a while for these platforms to build. So if they want to be there from the start,
yeah. And I think it says in this piece that maybe they're like the third biggest. I mean, but I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like third biggest, but like way behind everyone else.
The one thing that's the one thing that this whole thing affects me the most is that at the moment Facebook isn't a bad place to go for like videos that it suggests for you. Really? So you go and watch a video and then it just strings a fuck ton of videos, and it's like, for me it's just like people fighting,
it's terrible,
foul videos, stuff like that. To get loads of them, great.
Instagrams, I mean, obviously
it's about an hour.
The same engine behind it, but yeah, Instagram can do that as well. It's
great. But now, because I Google about video games a lot, all I'm going to get are these streamers popping up on my thing constantly, so it's going to completely destroy something that I use quite a bit, which is a shame, but there you go.
I mean, looking at the piece that article links to, the Streamlabs quarterly report, it's very interesting looking at numbers. Like, I mean, so it says here, Facebook, so total hours watched in Q1 2020, Twitch obviously 65%, YouTube Gaming Live 22%, Facebook 11%, Mixer with 2%. Now, is this just gaming videos? Like, that surely can't be gaming streams. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe Facebook is 9% bigger in gaming streams than Mixer. I mean, maybe it
seems unlikely.
No, I think it definitely would be.
Really? Well, but because it's got a massive...
You've got 2.5 billion people, right? How many people are using like stuff like Mixer? It's got to be way, way less than that. Like, in terms of, like how many people have access to it. Like, if you think about Facebook, everybody has Facebook on their phone. For Mixer, you have to download it. Hang
on, right, this is interesting. Right, so there's two stats here. Well, the first one I mentioned was total hours watched in Q1 2020. Mixer, right at the bottom, with 2%. Right, they only go to total hours streamed. Twitch, this is just Q1. Twitch, 121 million. YouTube, 14 million. Facebook's only like 4.9. Mixer's 28 million. So, in terms of total hours streamed, Mixer's actually second. It's total hours watched that Facebook does it. So again, that's people watching just gaming videos on Facebook.
No, but that's... No, hang on. When you say streamed, that means people streaming, not actually watching the streams, right?
Well,
like, for example, you could have a ton of people all streaming, but no one's watching.
Yeah, I guess.
Whereas the watched figures are surely the best.
Sounds like Kane and Rinse. Go on.
I just think I mean, if you looked at, I think there's some fudging of numbers here, and like the difference between just watching like a gaming video someone's put on their Facebook channel, on Facebook page, versus actually like I'm streaming on Facebook now. Anyway, it'd be interesting to see if the figures change. I think that will ultimately be good for them, and we'll see what happens in the coming weeks and months.
I don't think anyone's going to care.
It's not coming out on iOS until June.
This thing is just for. It's not coming out to June. Fucking hell.
On iOS, yeah, because the whole thing is going to come out in June, but they brought it forward with everyone being at home and stuff.
So this is just for mobile games.
No, this is basically their version of Twitch, so it's like people streaming.
Oh, right.
But at the moment it's only on your phone, so it's...
Yeah, it's only a mobile
app. Oh, right, okay. It's just the mobile app. I thought you meant it's for streaming games on your mobile.
You can also do that as well, yeah.
Well, yeah, but you can do that anyway on Twitch. I mean, I've done it on Twitch several times.
Yeah.
So it's not a unique selling point, is it?
No one's going to care about this. Like, no one will. It's another one no one's going to care
700 million of its 2.5 billion monthly users will.
Yeah.
I know, but most of those are your mum and dad, aren't they? They're not. Yeah. Like, no one under the age of 20 uses Facebook.
I'm not going to go onto Facebook and see my dad playing Fortnite going, hey guys, thanks for watching it, thanks for the sub.
Yeah, but imagine if you did.
It's your boy John T.
Thanks for the
ring that bell.
Thanks for the Facebook bits.
that would be brilliant.
Amazon's purchase of Twitch feels more shrewd by the day. Like the Amazon connection between Amazon and Twitch is massive because everyone's like, well, I've got Amazon Prime, I'll use this free sub, or it's advertised within both Amazon and Twitch. I feel like there's a great connection there.
I've fallen asleep and woken up at the end of the show again. What's happening?
But I'm saying, like, I think that makes a lot of people think, I will use this. Whereas, Mixer and stuff, that you don't get that stuff on those other channels.
Yeah. How should they use that stuff, Matt?
You tell me, James.
Surely the fact that, I don't know, who knows? It depends how they position it, isn't it? If they position it right, then everyone, as you say, everyone uses Facebook. If there's a bunch of streams popping up on your fucking phone, like while you're on Facebook anyway, then there's every chance that you might click on one and watch a bit, and that's how they might grow. But we'll see.
Okay, Sony patented a weird thing. I mean, this is one of those this is one of those things that it's almost certainly nothing's ever going to come of this, but it still is quite interesting. So what it is it's called a feeling deduction robot, and it's like a companion.
Right, okay, no, stop. Do you guys know this story yet?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I read it. I heard
right,
it
so Sean, you don't, right? Yeah. Okay, so Matt does. Sean, we need to work out by that name what this thing is. So,
a feeling deduction robot. So what is it? As in, it can read, like what? It can read your facial expression or your voice and figure out what mood you're in.
All of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Feeling deduction robot. So this is David Cage is involved somewhere, right? David Cage is involved. Or is it a feeling reduction robot that he was working? I can't remember. Go on. Let's hear it. What is it?
Okay, so the patent details a control system where you've got a human-type, pet-type robot or virtual reality companion that's able to detect a user's feelings. And the feelings it can detect are ranging, it says here from Eurogamer, ranging from joy and anger to love and surprise.
Someone will try and fuck it.
I was going to say.
Someone will try and fuck it.
Can it deduct when you feel anger or horny or something? Is that the...
It's going to happen, Sean.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
Guaranteed. And I put my money on James.
Thanks, David. Thank you.
Sorry. I'm being really harsh tonight.
So it does this through photographic and audio data, and then it responds appropriately using movement, sound, and even speech.
Even speech?
Yeah.
Good God.
So it's like a walking, talking Connect. Is that what we're saying?
Well, let me go on and tell you some more. So it says here, it is expected that the user's affinity with the robot is increased and motivation for playing a game is enhanced by the robot viewing the gameplay next to the user and being pleased or sad together with the user.
This is amazing. This is so good. The picture as well is incredible.
And then it also says Sony also envisages the robot being able to participate in the game as a virtual player and virtually operate the opponent team, which may result in the
if it beats me at FIFA, I'm going to fucking put it down.
No.
It says to the vet.
It says which may result in the robot appearing to be sad if it loses a match.
And then angry. And then punchy.
Yeah. Stuck in the pad.
then it kills you in your sleep.
And then looks
quite
surprised.
Stabby robot.
Okay. But the thing is, if it's like working on cameras and all that sort of shit, and maybe you're having a bit of Sean time, and suddenly you look round and it's wandered into the bedroom.
It starts going, Father, what are you doing?
Why are you hurting Mummy?
Recording complete. Pay money to PSN store to release video.
Robot going for special time now. I'm jerking it.
Surprise, wouldn't it?
I'm jerking it. Well, no, you'll have to put like stickers over the eyes, like laptops.
Just like a little, webcams have a little flip down thing over the eyes. You can do that to him. Just shut your eyes, mate.
Yeah,
but he's still listening. He's like HAL 9000 in 2001. He's lip reading. He's fucking.
Oh, too much, Sean. Oh, okay, on the mouth.
No, there's more. Additionally, the patent suggests that if a positive bond is formed between the robot and its user, the robot's functionality could be expanded considerably further to include.
Oh God! Don't say expand.
To include areas such as life management. So it says, if the user is living an irregular life, the robot may propose improvement of the life rhythm. For example, saying, let's go to bed soon.
Okay.
Whoa.
We're moving too fast. Let's take it slow.
This robot is definitely going to criticise your Final Fantasy VII sessions, like the really late ones. It's going to be like, let's go to bed now.
Could you imagine waddling it over? Like it waddling over after you've had a massive row with your wife and just going, I think you were a bit inappropriate there. You didn't do the dishes that day. You misremembered this. You must go in and apologise.
I told you to take out the bins. Or
just start stirring things up.
Yeah, be fucking ripping its legs off and shit. I'm imagining a very bright white shiny dog type thing. Is anyone else? Is that the image you've got in your head with like a black screen?
Have a look at the picture in the piece. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's basically like a giant meatball with arms and legs and eyes.
It's a cloud of arms and legs.
It's the thing from inside.
Yeah.
This sounds horrendous and something from a, what would you call it, a Black Mirror episode.
I mean, this is like there's Furbies come out a few years ago and they all had like cameras for eyes and stuff, and then someone hacked them.
They weren't like this though.
No,
they don't express anger.
Yeah, but to be fair, this isn't like this. Sure, this is us just. That is hilarious. How's it going to walk around on those little legs?
And how's it got on the sofa?
It's not going to happen, is it?
When I first heard the story, I saw the headline. I thought, okay, so Sony is doing like a personal assistant type thing.
I thought it was going to be like Rob the Robot from the NES. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I thought they have a personal assistant on PS5, so like a Siri or Android assistant, and you could ask it to do things, and it will remember things, so on and so forth. But I didn't think it'd be an actual physical robot.
Because what's the merit in it being a physical thing unless it's going to clean up, or you can shag it,
or both?
You can make a lot of money by selling it, Sean. That's why.
Okay,
software. It's
selling it for shagging. Is that what you're saying?
Are you going to pimp out your mate, James? Is that where this is going?
I don't know
what
investment
you mean. Strategy. This is horrible.
I like the picture where it's just like it looks like something a child's done, and then it says underneath it, "Your new best friend." What the fuck is this?
I feel bad about myself discussing this. I want to move on.
Well, I am going to pre-order one.
Okay.
Of course you are. Of course you are. Go on.
Okay, last story is that Crysis Remastered has been revealed. And it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. I mean,
does anyone give a fuck
about
that's the
Crysis?
Thing.
I didn't understand what. Okay, can I ask a question about this? Was this game actually ever good?
No, it was a tech demo gone wild.
Yeah, there was a discussion about this in the Discord the other day, and some people were very, very much in favour of it. My take had always been that it looked really impressive, but I never until recently knew of anyone who really rated it as a game.
Yep. There was one on the PS3, wasn't there? What was the second? Was it the second one?
Crysis
2, yeah. No, it had a colon name, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It was like Crysis again. No, Crysis the Return. I don't know. But I played that one and just thought, this just feels fucking horrible. It looks nice, but it just feels fucking horrible to play. I think you started off in a city with like a maze, and you walked into the maze and there was things to shoot in there.
No, I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah, it was shit. Okay. But I couldn't give a fuck about Crysis. I just remember the videos of people piling up loads of barrels and exploding them and going, that looks good.
Oh, Crysis Warhead. Was that it?
Might be. Was that on the PS3?
Don't know.
Yeah, you tried.
I did.
Fell at the first hurdle, but I appreciate it. It might be Crysis 2, actually, for all I care. Go on. Is that it?
Are we done with really. Crysis? Yeah, I mean, I don't care. So, yeah, that's it.
Cool.
That's the end of the news.
Well, let's get on to what you've been playing, and we'll start with Matt this week. But I think it's about time you spoke about Metroid, isn't it?
Well, I'm very close to finishing it, so I won't do it after. But I can if you want. I mean,
yeah. Well, you've been playing it for how long?
That's my 5th week on Sunday.
Right. So, and you did a 4-hour session on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I think you've played a lot of it. I mean, you spoke about Half-Life Alyx after about an hour's worth of play. Let's get going with
but like
Metroid. I'm dying to find out what you think about this.
Yeah, it's good. I really haven't got much to say about it, and I don't know why. It's basically this stream, it hasn't been one where I'm like, oh, brilliant, I'm going to stream Metroid tonight. I'm just never really been like that. But when I get into it, I'm like, oh no, I think I must say at least like 3 or 4 times a stream, okay, no, this is brilliant, and I'm really enjoying it now. I'm not sure, I think this might be like the first Metroidvania I've streamed on I don't know if it like works as a stream. Obviously, people have said they're enjoying it, I think mostly because it's like nostalgia thing and they want to see it and they want to see someone experience it for the first time. And there are loads of redeeming features that I think are brilliant. Like the music's amazing. It's got a really fantastic atmosphere. But I was not. Apart from that, I'm not really mega feeling it. And I don't know if it's like the streaming thing or the controls are kind of annoying because obviously it's an old game and it's very fiddly.
That's not It's not though, is it? It's just that you're using an analog stick rather than the D-pad, as everyone keeps telling you to do.
Well, I switched between both D-pad and analog stick, but I should stick with D-pad. But I mean, the controls are fiddly, and I know what the controls are, but when you try and do these like special jumps and stuff, where you got to do a few things at once. But I don't know. I'm just like I'm enjoying it. I mean, it's yeah.
Are you? I mean, it doesn't sound like you are.
Yeah, everyone says that, but no, I mean, I say on the stream of the week, like, this is brilliant, but I just, like, I don't know. I don't know if I've got much to say about it, and I'm not sure if it's like the streaming aspect that has kind of not done much.
What is it? Has it surprised you in any way?
I didn't really go with any preconceived ideas. Like, it hasn't blown me away, I'll say that much. I mean, although I think musically it's still fantastic. So music, it does really good stuff. And every now and then, when you really nail certain mechanics it throws at you, it does feel really good. Like certain particular jumps, or there's like a grappling thing you have where you can swing around the place. That feels great. When you chain some of them together, when you use the momentum. But then there were just some annoying enemies that sort of fuck you up regardless, and it's just not satisfying for in some combat scenarios. I don't know. I haven't really got an awful lot to say about it. I'm gonna if I was reviewing it right now, I've no idea what I'd give it. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to finishing it. Really.
So what are you enjoying about it then? I don't get it because
the atmosphere and the vibe.
Right? Can I ask you straight up? Are you genuinely enjoying it, or are you really just trying hard to find find something that you like about it? Or
no, I mean I listed the things I like, but I'm not like. I mean, if I wasn't streaming it, I don't know if I'll bother. I probably would bother finishing because it's short enough. But I'm not exactly like yes, Metroid. I'm just like whatever. It's I don't know.
Okay, well that's interesting. That's valid. So what do you think is missing then, James, Sean? Because you guys are both like massive fans of this game, right? And you were saying, it still holds up.
Yeah, it totally does.
So, but how much of that is nostalgia?
It's not, because I didn't play it. I played it. The first time I played it was actually on the Wii U, which was actually not really that long ago, and I was totally blown away when I played it. I think mostly because. And I know that I urged you to do this as a stream, Matt, and I probably shouldn't have done because I don't think this game works so well as a stream.
You didn't say that before, did you?
Yeah, I know. It's my mistake.
Yeah, a little bit late with that information there, James.
Yeah. But no, I think the reason is because this part of the whole of this game is the feeling of like seclusion and being alone and sort of and like being on this like
to play in front of an audience, Matt.
Exactly, yeah.
What are you thinking, James?
Because no, the whole thing is exploration, and you're supposed to feel like the atmosphere of the planet and the fact that you are on your own and you feel isolated. But if you're playing it on a stream, you can't ever really get that feel, I don't think, like in the same way. And I think that is a massive part of what makes the game good, in my idea. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, because we got a question about this, didn't we? Mike at Gadget8bit said, I've been considering playing Super Metroid recently. However, after watching Matt Murray wrestle with the controls, all I can think is that I'd be breaking Joy-Cons pretty regularly. Is Matt just being shit, or are the controls actually that awkward? It's neither. I think it's just Matt's not quite using them as they're intended. Because as I say, using the analog stick is a problem. Matt, are you using you can use L and R to aim like diagonally up and down?
Yeah, I use that, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I switched controls because I think the original controls were even more complicated, but I switched like jump to a different button, and
Okay, fair enough.
And you're using a Pro Controller, yeah?
Yeah.
I love that fucking pad, man. Love that pad.
You really should use the D-pad though, because it was not designed as an analog game, like at all, and it means that it's.
So what makes this difference to say Zelda? Because when I played Zelda: Link to the Past on the SNES Nintendo thingy, I was using the analog stick, and it felt fantastic. Like it felt great.
Because it doesn't impact on how like weapons are deployed, whereas it really does in Metroid. Yeah. That's the big difference.
In what way?
Well, depending on which direction that you're pointing, it changes like how the weapon works. So, because if you're using an analog stick, it sometimes will like if you don't get it exactly in the right place, it will think it's registered it in a different place, and so then it will do a different thing. Whereas it doesn't do that in Zelda. It's just movement purely, and so that's why. Okay. So, what is probably happening here is, if Matt is using an analog stick, he's intending to do something, but it's not registering properly because he's using an analog stick. That's the problem.
Exactly. So I think that's a barrier. So to say, it's not that the controls are bad or that Matt's rubbish. It's just it's a quirk of it being like James says, that conversion from sort of a D-pad to an analog stick doesn't quite work because the game is quite what's the word? Deliberate in all the movement. The way that so one thing I was seeing a lot on the stream last night, Matt, was when you were doing when you jump, if you jump straight into the air, you just jump normally. But if you're moving sideways when you jump, you go into like a somersault, right? So this is explaining for everyone else, Matt. Obviously, I know you know this. But then if you press left or right on the D-pad, you will stay in the somersault. But if you aim diagonally, you'll break out the somersault and start aiming your gun instead. And I was seeing a lot of like when you're trying to do the wall jumps, it was breaking out the spin, which I'm pretty sure is because you're using the analog stick and it was aiming the gun. Does that make sense? So it's things like that suddenly start falling apart if you use the analog stick. But
do you think it could also be the fact that Matt has played Metroidvania, like modern Metroidvania games, and maybe some of the... I mean, I've never played the game, so I don't know, so I'm sort of playing devil's advocate here, but maybe some of the bullshit's been ironed out. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm assuming...
I don't know,
I don't think so. Yeah, because...
Go on, sorry.
I really don't think so, because, first of all, I mean, Matt, you said you haven't played many Metroidvania games anyway. Like, which ones have you played?
He played the Guacamelee games. He loved them, didn't he? Sorry, Matt, I'm talking for you, but go on.
Yeah, so I haven't played Metroid and I haven't played Castlevania, but I've played a bunch of others.
Mm-hmm. But which ones though? Because Guacamelee is really good, but it's relatively straightforward in terms of exploration and stuff. Because so my response to Dave would be that it's not necessarily that Super Metroid's old, it's just one of the more open ones. Like, there's always a bit of exploration involved in a Metroidvania. It's one of the, obviously one of the sort of cornerstones of the genre, but
it's never been about that.
Open and some are more
it's never
direct
been about the whole getting lost or not finding yourself. It is, the controls just kind of killed it in many ways because it feels like a bit of a barrier, and it's never felt fully comfortable. Even now, I might know the controls. I've always felt like I'm wrestling with them somehow. And if I compare to other amazing 2D games I've played, like things like Celeste and so on and so forth, where the controls are just pixel perfect, you know exactly where you're going to be at any point.
I think because obviously like seeing the experience you've had with it has made me sort of intrigued to go back and play it again just to see if maybe I'd play it again now and be like, oh, actually, shit, this isn't great. But I also didn't want to do the thing of being like, oh, Matt, I've played it and I finished it this week. Because obviously I still remember loads of it. So do you know what I mean? So...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just because it's a classic doesn't mean I was going to love it. It's just, it's I'm enjoying myself, but I wouldn't, it's not nothing more than that really. Actually, when I was streaming last night, some guy raided me with 83 people.
Oh, he did. He's like a huge Super Metroid streamer, isn't he? He's the one who can do the game in the reverse boss order. Which is, I don't even know how that works.
So someone came in and hey, we've raided you. And I was like, oh, awesome, thanks and welcome. And I was like, where are you guys from? And he's like, oh, I'm just about to go on awesome games done quick and stream this. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I've got some tips here for you. You might need them. You might need. I was like, you jump here. You don't do it. You jump. Then you die there. But I mean, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, it's great. Yeah, and like the bunch of like the people who came with him were really cool. Anyway, but yes, Super Metroid. I think I'm closest to the end. I've got like one of the main bosses and the final boss.
Three bosses in, aren't you? So that's
yeah. So I'm on my way now to the fourth boss, and then I guess the final boss. Yeah, I don't know. It's fine.
Is that the sort of reaction you were hoping at the end of all this, James? Was it worth it?
That's kind of what I was expecting. So it's fine.
No, it wasn't. Don't give me any of that.
We really wanted Matt to play this.
He was going to love it.
Yeah.
I did, yeah. But then, I don't know. As the weeks have gone on, I thought this is where it was going. So, yeah.
Okay, sorry, Matt. Anything else you've got
and I finished Final
for us
Fantasy,
to talk about?
Which is the big...
Oh, let's do the Final Fantasy chat then. Sean, have you played any more?
I haven't, no, but not the game's fault, just not had time.
Okay, before you get on to your final thoughts, Joe Springer style, Matt, I got to that chapter 9 you were talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game goes absolutely insane. Like, I wasn't expecting this.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting it. I mean, the first one seemed to take this sort of really interesting location and add a sprinkle of reality into things, and it seemed to focus on some emotional beats and question the player's morality and all that sort of stuff. And then it just goes like completely batshit mental, as Matt said last week. It really does. I mean, it wasn't so much Chapter 8 that made me think of Yakuza, but Chapter 9 certainly did. Fucking hell. I mean, really.
Yeah. I think I said 9, yeah. I think I said 9 last week, yeah, because A was a bit of a lull, really.
Yeah, 8 was shit. It was really good. I was like rolling my eyes at think I hated that chapter. Chapter 9, I would say I enjoyed it. I do think it highlights one of the major flaws in the game, though. In that it creates some really cracking looking and feeling environments, and doesn't let you do anything in them other than main quests and side quests. That's it. It kind of feels that like the one thing Yakuza's got going for it, the only thing the Yakuza's got going for it is just waiting for James to kick off.
I can't be bothered.
Okay,
I can't be bothered. It's like, what is the point? Go on.
Is that although the I think in Yakuza the cities feel not less alive, but a little bit more video gamey than they do in this. Like, so what's interesting about the cities in Final Fantasy is that alleyways feel like alleyways, whereas in games like we're used to everything being like blocked off, and then alleyways just feel like slightly narrower roads and stuff. Like, you never feel like you're, like when you're walking around in a normal environment in the real world. Remember doing that? You'll come across like a small path that leads somewhere, and you're like, "What? That feels weird. Everything's enclosed. It doesn't feel like it's like a public space and all that sort of stuff."
Yeah,
you
really
get
not
that
meant
feeling.
to be there, basically. Like,
yeah, and you get a lot of that feeling from this particular area of the game. But the problem is that in Yakuza you can go in and out of places and do stuff. Whereas in Final Fantasy, the only interactive elements are relating to the main quest or the side quests. Like, let me give you an example. So in this area, there's a gym, and there are various different there's maybe 2 or 3 internal spaces, but initially you go into them and you can't do anything. Like, it's just like just this area completely non-interactive, and then you'll get a side quest that you go in there and maybe do a little mini game of something, and then you come out again. But then when you go back in there, there's not really much to do. So some areas let you retry that mini game to beat your score, but others, like for example in Chapter 8, there's like an old people's social club. You go in there, you can't do anything. Then you get a mission where you meet a reporter in there, and then it goes back to an unusable space again, and it kind of feels like it kind of removes that feeling of being engrossed in this world. it sort of things like everything is there for the player when it needs to be there for the player, and when it's not, it goes back to being just a theme park ride that you're walking through, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think that's the major flaw that I found with this game. Everything else, though, more than makes up for it. And I went into Chapter 9 really on a bit of a downer after Chapter 8, thinking, oh God. And then there's like some weird environmental puzzles leading up to the main part of Chapter 9 that I was kind of like, this is just not very fun to do.
You mean stuff in those the tunnels? Oh, the cranes. Oh,
yeah, the hands.
Yeah, what's the point of that?
Absolutely no point in any of that stuff whatsoever. It just, I like the design of the hands. That was about it. And I only needed to look at that once and it would have been fine. But then it asked you to do it 3 or 4 times. And I was just like, fuck this. So I was in a bit of a bad mood by the time that I got to that environment. But it's safe to say it won me over. Because then you start meeting characters in that environment and working out their position, their status and their character.
Yeah, I just love the vibe of that place. Busy and the music and the lights, and I just think it's a fantastic environment.
One of the fights. Everyone that's played this chapter knows exactly what I'm talking about. That fight, I'd love to know if that was in the original Final Fantasy VII. Because if not, who come up with that idea? Oh, let's just put this fight in. What? He's going to fight a what? Yeah, we'll do that. What? Are you fucking... Like, I was sitting there waiting for something to happen, and then all of a sudden the battle started, and I was like, oh no, I'm actually fighting this, am I now?
Yeah.
What the fuck? But I won't spoil it, obviously. But yeah, so that's as far as I've got. I'm right at the end of Chapter 9, I think, with another incredible turn of events, which, again... I would love to know if it was in the original or not.
I think that was actually. I think I've seen comments. I think people that I've seen talk about it have said that was in the original one.
The new Persona. Let me put it that way. The new Persona you've got.
And we don't mean in terms of the game series Persona, but yeah, I believe that was in the original.
I'm sort of talking around it. Right. Okay, that's interesting. Cool. Okay, right. So Matt, what your final overall thoughts? Did it end as well as you'd hoped?
Yeah, I think apart from some bits here and there, I mean, it was by no means a perfect game, and it wasn't perfect throughout. But from Chapter 9, I think it gradually went up and up and up with a couple of dips. But I think it ramped up really towards the end, and by the end, I absolutely loved it. Faults and all. By no means perfect. Chapter 14 was a low point, mostly because I wanted to do all the side missions, and there's like loads of them in that area. I didn't have to. I'm sure I could have got through it without it, but I thought, go on in, I might as well. And some of them take ages, and there's loads of them, and they all dovetail, so you can't say, I'll do 2 and move on, because or maybe I can do 2, but basically most of them, link in with each other. And anyway, so that was a bit of a...
Should I just skip that? Skip those?
So I did every side mission, apart from, again, that one I missed in Chapter 3, because I wasn't aware of what it was at the time. I did them all because I wanted like the materia and the upgrades and stuff. So I don't know what it's like without them, but I thought, okay, I'm going to need every help I can get. So I did them. But... It just took a long time, and it's like going backtracking. And anyway, apart from that, I think the story was fantastic. The last few bosses are absolutely amazing. And I think, as I said last week, I think the difficulty of this game has been perfect for me. It's been pushing me every step of the way. Basically, I've never felt super confident that I'm going to just smash through people. Every fight feels like it's on a knife edge, with me juggling abilities and materia and my party members and like health, potions and stuff or magic. So and the last few battles really ramp up that difficulty. So I'm really happy to say that the game, as it progressed, it got harder and harder. It's not like some games where by the end you've upgraded your character and stuff so much that actually you can breeze through. You can breeze through a lot of the stuff, but no, it kept pushing me, it kept challenging me. The last fight is amazing, and I mean, it was so good. Once I did it, I sort of did a fist pump. It was just a really amazing. Oh, come on, that was a fantastic moment. Obviously, I haven't played the original, but I've heard obviously.
Have you looked up what the change was?
Yeah, it's major stuff. After this ended, I was like, okay, I can't wait now to hear all the spoiler casts. Like a few people have done them, and I'm fascinated to hear, about the comparisons between the original and this, and what that means, and what the ending means, so on and so forth. And I asked on Twitter, I'm really excited to watch this, but I started listening to the kind of funny one. They're like, hey, by the way, before you listen to this, we are going to spoil the entire Final Fantasy VII universe. And I paused it. I was like, "Oh, do I do that on the tweet about it?" And people responded saying, "No, just either play the original game or just don't because you're ruining it for yourself." I mean, obviously, the second part of this remake will, I don't know, 5-10 years, God knows. I mean, it may never come out, or it's going to be some time regardless. And I'm like, but I really want to hear what these people say about the story because, I mean, I understand what this story does and how it does that. And how it's considerably changed to the original. Not that I know how the original one does it, but I've obviously gone to remake threads on Rollmuck and stuff, and they're like, "Well, this is insane what this one does." So I know there is substantial changes. I just don't know, what happens after the Midgar section and the story as a whole in the original.
But can't you just read up on that?
Sorry, go on, Dave.
Well, I could do, yeah, but then I'll be ruining the main story. Doesn't matter.
No, if you just read up to the Midgar bit of the original Final Fantasy, surely.
Well, no, because I think at the end of Midgar, they probably just go through Midgar and then go on to the next bit. I don't think. I mean, again, I haven't played it, but I don't. Obviously, they've tried to wrap it up in one big story, and they've made changes. And as a first-time player, I was like, "Oh, well, this is amazing!" I can't wait to see what happens next. But for those who have played it, they're like, "Well, this is a big old change," but I'm sure
I can understand, if someone's a fan of the original and they're talking about it on a podcast, and obviously the discussion they might want to have is like, yes, there's been changes, therefore, what could that mean for the rest of it? But equally, yeah, you should respect the fact that there'll be people like you who have no knowledge of the original, therefore you can't just then start going like, oh, and so in in another 2 chapters time, this is supposed to happen, but it might not. It's like you then just potentially spoiling it for people who are still enjoying
because
it fresh,
I don't know. I also was looking into saying, oh, maybe I'll watch Advent Children, and that's the CGI movie, isn't it?
Yes, and but that's set after the entire
that's set
game.
After Final Fantasy VII, but it's well, obviously whatever happens in Final Fantasy VII, I guess, will be reflected in Advent Children. I was like, oh, maybe I'll watch that, but I think that's all sort of part of the same melting pot. So. Yeah, I really wanted to hear other people talk about it because I thought it was a fantastic story. I thought the ending was brilliant, the final parts were brilliant, and overall, I absolutely loved the game. It feels like it really is. I'm classing it as my first Final Fantasy game. I may have played a little tiny bit of 8, when I was younger, but this is my first Final Fantasy. I think the battle system is such fun. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I had some difficulty on the final boss. Now, the final boss is sort of in like a few phases. And I did one phase, and I was like, cool. And then I was like really struggling on this other phase of the boss. I was like, oh, okay, I'll look up and see what people are recommending, like for materia and stuff. And actually, a lot of guides say you need this and this and this. So I'm like, well, I haven't got them set because, again, as I said in last week's and previous week's show, like you can't change materia if you're which is like which is a thing that basically controls your abilities and magic and stuff. You can't change that in the middle of a fight. You have to do that before a fight. And I'd already done one massive phase of this boss. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to be screwed now after like trying 3 or 4 times, getting nowhere, and people recommend I should have this, I'm basically have to start the whole final boss thing again, which I did. I mean, I got through that first phase like pretty quickly in the end, but it's like that's a bit annoying. Like, I mean, are they doing that just because it kind of harks back to the original, or could they change that to make it a quality of life thing, or are they doing that for a reason, Sean? What do you reckon?
Not that I'm aware of, because there's like changes have been made, in quality of life terms. So through the course of the game, people join and leave your party, right?
Yeah.
In the original, if someone had some like amazing materia equipped and then they left the party, they took it with them.
Oh God, really?
And there was like, and there's one section in the original where it's basically just Barrett, and if you haven't given him some decent materia by that point, then like he's got nothing. Like he's that's it. I think I've remembered that right. Anyway, it was something weird with Barrett being like away from the rest of the group for a bit, and it was just a pain in the arse. Whereas in this, it's like even if someone's been in the party but they're not currently in it, you can still take their material off them and apply it to people
I
who
was
are.
constantly switching material around.
Particularly towards the fact they've made changes like that makes it sound like this like boss stuff is just a bit of an oversight. It feels like if they'd realised, they might have changed that.
I mean, it mostly was an issue until it became an issue, and I'm like, I wish I had that material, because I was like, I was trying to move material around my party members to try and level up a bunch of different materia. But then I didn't quite have enough, so then I was like, at one point I was like, okay, pause, switch. Now I'll do this. Now, I mean, that got a little bit annoying. But anyway, forgetting all that, I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. I reckon anyone who's listening who haven't played the original, like me, they're unsure, I absolutely recommend it. I mean, that massive fight Dave just mentioned in Chapter 9 is definitely one of the biggest and best. And it's like, oh, this is just so good. When it works, the combat is amazing fun.
Yeah, although I'm kind of like hearing what you're saying about the bosses and stuff and thinking, actually, I'm alright on easy. I don't think I'll be changing it that much from now.
Yeah, I think I messaged you saying
to find out what the
kind of struggling now. I guess I do have the option of changing down to easy, but I'm like, if I do that, I'll regret it forever. So I'm glad I just stuck with it, and But no, amazing fun.
I don't want to have to look up what material, like items I should have equipped. I don't want any of that. I can't be bothered. I'm quite enjoying just laying down and sitting, playing it, and enjoying the spectacle. Really.
What do you think, Sean, about the whole like me not listening to spoiler casts and spoiling the whole like Final Fantasy VII universe? I mean, what would you have said to that?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the fact that you are enjoying it like completely fresh. I mean, I suppose the argument is like, oh well, what's wrong about reading up on the original, because it all might change anyway. The whole point is they seem to be keen to surprise people no matter what your knowledge of the series is. But yeah, I think it's a shame. Like if we were to do a spoiler cast on this, I would go up to the events, the events up to the end of the remake and then stop there. Because surely the risk is, or maybe do a bonus segment at the end where we maybe talk about the implications of what happens later on. But I think I personally would want to just focus on what happens in the remake, and compare it to the original, but don't go beyond that, because there will be people enjoying this for the first time. So yeah, no, I think it's valid to avoid any discussion about any stuff after the remake.
I was looking around because I seem to remember at last year's like when. That Xbox show was in London, XO19 or whatever it was. They said all the Final Fantasy games were on Xbox. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just play a little bit of the original Final Fantasy on Xbox One. But that's not out there. And currently I think it's only like 14, maybe. Possibly it's on there. But the rest of them aren't on there yet. So I was like, okay, well, it'd be good to play it. It's 12 quid on Switch, and I think if I was going to play it,
now, aren't they?
I'll probably get more time playing it on Switch. So there's kind of tempting to play the original, see what it's like, but I don't know. I mean, what a big thing of why I love this is the combat is so good, and obviously that's completely different on the original. Yeah. But no, I'm so glad I played it. It took me 48 hours in the end. That's doing pretty much all the side quests. There's tons of stuff to go back and do if I wanted to, but I don't know if I'm going to bother, because I think it'd be a lot harder. But no,
I'll tell you something. The idea of getting angry at them for changing the story, big plot points in the story, I can't relate to at all. Okay, because if you love that series and you know the story anyway, what's the point in them just telling you that story again? Yeah. You know what I mean? Strange, like, why not mix it up? Yeah, just a little bit different. And all right, if you don't agree with it, see where it goes. I mean, I'm not saying it's necessarily better to do that, but I'd rather that than them just do it beat by beat.
I've read obviously a bunch of different viewpoints on this, particularly in Rollmock. Like some people are like, I'm a massive Final Fantasy fan, and actually thinking about it now, thinking about the remake, my original assumption would be, oh, it's just the original game, but it looks amazing. But actually, after playing this now, I'm glad they've made changes. Whereas other people are like, this isn't actually a remake. They've changed it. It's basically a game within a Final Fantasy VII universe. It's not you're not remaking the first game. You've changed the original game. So I've seen a bunch of different viewpoints on that. But
yeah, it's weird. Isn't it? It's like when I watched that Lion King, the CGI Lion King.
Fuck that.
I watched it and I was like, why are we not just watching The Lion King?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get this. What is it's the same thing, but without the animation, like the characterization of the animation. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Odd fucking concept that is.
Yeah.
Let's just read it. Yeah, weird.
Yeah, to me, I just don't. Yeah, I don't feel like there's any merit in that whatsoever.
Absolutely not. They should have changed the ending to Scar killed everyone. That would have been great.
But Dave, are you gonna continue playing? Are you enjoying it enough to continue?
Oh yeah. No, I will finish that game. I've got no doubt about it because, I mean, the point I'm at now, I just can't imagine where it's going to go from here because it's, as I said, the fucking plot has just gone off the rails completely. Like completely. There's some weird shit in here. And so I want to see what's around the corner, I guess. Does it continue with that theme? Or is it this just a weird little detour midway through the story?
I mean, it's mostly centered in that chapter. It doesn't keep the weird throughout.
That's a shame.
But it's a nice diversion.
I think
yeah, for sure. And the music in that area is just fucking second to none.
Yeah.
Like the various different adaptions of that theme is fantastic. I love it.
I think I know we didn't really mention this last week, like how well the sort of the aesthetic of the world itself stands up in that it's still this really weird sort of unique mix of, like, I guess steampunk with magic stuff. And it's just a fascinating world. Like the city is just really interesting to look at, I find. Like there's, a lot of it's sort of like sort of early industrial revolution style Britain, but with magic glowy shit, but also some of it's quite high tech. And it's just
shit just does not make sense, though, does it?
There is that.
I mean, like, you think if you were having a fight with someone and then a fucking massive giant devil shows up, you think someone would go, "Hold on, what the fuck is that?"
Everyone just accept it. It's like,
everyone just accepts it. So yeah,
I quite like that. I mean, obviously, Midgar City, the metaphor is somewhat heavy-handed in that you've got, this giant plate suspended in the sky where the upper class people live, and then all the slums beneath it. But it works, and it's just such an impressive thing to look at. Like,
it looks so good in this.
Yeah, like it was cool in the original, but to actually be stood, in the slums and looking up at the city, you're just like, fuck, this is horrible, but in this sort of weirdly, really impressive way. Like it's just. Yeah, it's like you just get a real sense of how fucking oppressive and awful it must have been. But yeah.
It must have been
when it happened. No, I mean, sorry,
back
because
in the day,
playing the original,
I asked my granddad about it. Granddad, what was it like in Midgar?
No, sorry, because in the original, obviously, you're pretty much always looking top down, so you never get that sense of like looking up and being like, "Fuck, we're just buried beneath the fucking." Bourgeoisie.
But what's interesting, obviously I've only played this and the whole game is about that, whereas obviously the original, that's just one bit of it. So
yes, got a load of other shit to see.
That kind of fascinates me as well.
Cool. All right, anything else?
And I've been hammering Animal Crossing as well.
Yeah, mates.
I know you have. One quick question. Let's do the Animal Crossing question section. One quick question. What am I supposed to... Right, so I've now... The day after I was moaning about not being a 3-star island, I was a 3-star island. I've had the whole KK slider thing, which was incredibly disappointing. What's the point in KK slider? I mean, Harry loves him.
I'll be honest. Right, yeah, he's never...
The music's shit.
Yeah, he's never bothered me.
No.
He's never bothered me before. I find him really annoying now.
Yeah.
Not even the music. Just every time he talks to him, he's like, "Yeah, I'm really digging the vibes of this island." I'm like, "Oh, fuck off."
Yeah.
The thing is, though,
It's changed. It's changed this time around because last time when he turned up, it was great because you could like get some recordings of whatever he just played.
Oh yeah.
Whereas it doesn't do that now.
Yeah,
now you just have to buy them from the shop instead, which is irritating.
Like, he's like, "Hey, do you want this?" And I was like, "Oh, brilliant! I'm going to buy this." And he's like, "Oh no, just choose one of the things I've already bought." Or
but the music's not even fun or anything.
No,
Dave,
there's one track I'm gonna gift you and send you because it's the best one in. It's the best one in Animal Crossing. It's amazing.
What's it called?
It's called KK Fair, and it sounds so good.
Fine. I've bought every one I could possibly buy. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got all of them. But like it took me a long time to realise that was music you were buying. I thought they were just pictures that you could like put up in your
I've got a massive wall full of them, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I thought that was it. I didn't know they were actual music. But
I think there's about 50 of them or so.
Yeah, there's
absolutely
there will be a
lot.
Yeah.
But they're all just like basic genre turned into 8-bit. It's nothing like special, is it? It's just dum 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 dum. You're like, okay.
I wouldn't say so, but yeah.
I would say so. I'd say exactly say so. And who's got the better opinion on this? Probably me, isn't it?
Definitely not you. It's ridiculous.
You reckon your opinion's more valid than mine, do you?
I do, because I've listened to a lot more of them than you have, Dave.
Yeah, but this is the game that you can say nothing wrong about because you're so emotionally tied to it.
Rubbish. I've said there's things I didn't like about it.
Yeah, I know, but if anyone says anything shit, you go, well, no, actually, look, I've enjoyed.
I'm allowed to offer a counterpoint to like what you say.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is mine's more valid.
James, gone.
No, I've got nothing to say. It's just
He's just fuming. No, I mean, I've enjoyed my time with it, and I'm still going to be playing it mainly because I've enjoyed my time with Harry's well into it, and it's been great waking up in the mornings and sort of doing things and I'm mainly just buying him stuff now that he really wants because he's spent all his bells and stuff like that. But I don't care. It's just, I just feel right. So back to the question I wanted to ask: what am I supposed to be doing about getting DIY recipes? Because there's tons of stuff that I want, but it seems like there's no real easy, good way of getting DIY recipes.
There's two, so you can either buy them with tickets, obviously from the shop.
Yeah, but there's only a select amount. For example, let me give you an example. So the first fence you get to make is the simple wooden fence, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I'd say, arguably one of the best ones because it doesn't look too overpowering.
Yeah.
They're low level picket fence, right? But I haven't got the DIY recipe for it, and I can't get it anywhere. So I've laid down the initial 10, and now I can't do fuck all.
No, but it's in Nook's catalogue.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not in Nook's catalogue. I've got there's 2 types of fence in Nook's catalogue, not that one.
Have you bought?
No, but you buy if you buy them, they get new ones every day. You can get new ones all the time.
Okay, so I've got to buy the shit ones and then hopefully this one's right. Okay,
I thought it just rotated every day no matter what. Is that not?
No.
It's the same 2 has been there for fucking ages, and I've just not bought them because
the other
they
thing
look crap.
You can do is you can get them from. So you get stuff from balloons as well that float over.
Yeah, I've been getting that, but then that's
also,
just
and also from bottles on the beach as well. You can get them.
Yeah, and going into people's houses, but it's never the thing that I want.
But the main thing is you see, at the moment, all of us have still just got Nook's Cranny, right? Just like the first level.
Yeah.
So soon, because I was looking up about this, because I was wondering, because in the past, when you play these games, the more money you spend in the shop, the quicker it gets upgraded, to the next level of what it's going to be. That hasn't happened this time, because I've been buying stuff every day for it. And it turns out that what it is this time is it happens after 31 days of play.
Okay.
That it's going to get updated. So pretty much, I'm pretty certain that by the end of this month or whatever, there'll be an upgrade for it that everyone will get. And then there'll be a lot more stuff, more stuff. Because that's what always happens with this.
30 days now, so the next couple of days, I think.
Because you should be on the same days as we are, Matt. Because you started. Oh no, did you start a couple of days before? I can't remember.
I don't know. I know I'm on day 30. That's all I know.
Okay.
Yeah, and can you get an actual toilet?
Yes. Yeah, I've got a toilet. Do you want me to send you it?
I've had a bathroom set up for ages, but I've not got a toilet or a bath or anything.
Oh, mate, I've got a toilet and a bath. You can have them.
Oh, man.
Have you definitely bought all the recipes in Nook's Cranny? There's Wildest Dreams one and all sorts.
Yeah, I bought all them, but they're all the Wildest Dreams one is the wooden fish. and it looks shit.
The Wildest Dreams one was really weird because that's what gave me the Ironwood kitchenette. But then to make that, I needed other Ironwood stuff.
You need something that you haven't got. Yeah, I've got that as well. That's weird.
I mean,
also,
sorry,
go on. No,
I was going to say there's been a data mine as well.
I haven't read that, so I don't want to spoil it. But
that's why I didn't put it in the news. Okay, I didn't think anybody would really want to know. But basically, there is a lot more content coming.
Okay.
Is the thing.
I'm not. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. It's just it feels like maybe I can put it away for a little bit. Well, I know I can't anyway. I've still got to play it every day because of Harry. But I also so Harry's been visiting islands. But he's been doing it on my profile because I don't know if he can do it on his profile because he's not got
Switch
online, right?
Right,
yeah.
So he can't do that. So he's been visiting people's islands, and he went to visit John Denton's son's island, or John Denton's island, the other day. But it only gave the option of going to James or Matt's. So he went to Matt's, and so it was like, again, like it felt like a Disneyland village, if you know what I mean. Because Harry was walking along and he saw Matt's house and he thought, fuck, look at that house. It's massive compared to ours. And I was like, oh, wicked. Yeah, that looks really good. And then he went inside and every room was empty, just completely filled with turnips. And I thought, yeah, that's Matt's house. Like, he hadn't even put flooring down or new, like, walls or anything. It's completely empty. So it's like, a Disneyland village where,
I've done
if you look at the wrong angle,
done the kitchen, done all sorts.
Well, we went in your kitchen, and I remember you saying, "Oh, the ironwood furniture, I really like that." There was 2 pieces in there and full of turnips. So, have you sold your turnips already?
No, not yet. No.
From yesterday. So what have you done to it since yesterday?
Well, I've done absolutely shitloads to the actual town itself. I've done loads.
What have you done to your house? Is it still full of turnips?
I've started putting stuff in the podcast room upstairs. I've added a couple of more bits to the kitchen. I've got some ironwood like lights and stuff. I mean, I'm more focused on the island than the actual house so far.
I will say Matt's town is really nice. Like, it's proper good.
Have you been? When did you last go there, Sean?
It was the other day. Was it? Did I come to buy turnips? Or did I can't remember. Was it Sunday?
I don't know. It's massively changed even since yesterday. Oh, okay. No. So since Saturday. Yeah. I'm getting happy with it now. I've done loads of stuff with it. I've got a little like coffee shop. I've got a little like pizza place. I've got a pub. Little wine bar.
I had to change my mentality with all that stuff. So I logged on one day and there was fucking random paths everywhere, and Harry's drawn this really weird Nintendo flag, like that he's put up, like as our town flag, but also plastered all over the floor around the plaza. And I looked at it and I went, Harry, we're not having this. And I went over and started sweeping it up, and he started, like, the bottom lip come out. And I just went, I'm a 35-year-old man playing in this animal town that Harry is building and loving. I'm going to put these flags back down on the floor and not give a fuck. Because that's where I've had to hold back and go, actually, maybe this is more Harry's game than it is mine. So maybe I should just be helping him out and doing the things that he wants to do. I mean, I've got my house and I'll make sure that looks nice. But in terms of the island and everything, I'll stick some bridges and inclines in for him and just let him go wild, I think. But yeah, no, I still like it. It's still things all over the place, but I'm sort of trying to connect them together and make it look somewhat, like there's been some thought behind it. But no, it's fun. Like I'm enjoying it. I just don't know how intensely I'll be playing it from now on.
That's fine though. That's like we've been saying.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. You're supposed to be able to just spread it right out. So
yeah, well, I mean, 40 hours in, it's not bad.
Well, yeah. If you stop now, it's still value for money. But
that is like crazy, like the amount of time that people are putting into it now. Because I mean, I'd look at mine. I'm about, I think, 70 hours, which is not really a lot. Like, over the long period of time. Chen has played this now for about 165 hours, which is ridiculous.
Whoa!
Do you know? I might check.
It's because she's
I know people on like 200 something hours.
Yeah. It's because she's like, when every evening now, when she just goes to bed, she just gets into bed, takes it in there with her, and just sits there playing it like for hours. It's just, but
here's
her
the other
island
thing as well.
Looks amazing.
You know, Sam White has created Milton Keynes.
Oh my god, his town is absolutely absurd.
The amount of street lamps he's got in there, has he had to buy them every day from the shop and wait for them?
Yeah, no, you can buy as many as you want.
It's annoying.
Oh, you could buy a number of them.
Well, yeah, maximum 5 per day though.
Sorry,
it's
sorry.
It's like a maximum of 5 orders from, I guess, the Nook Miles one. Maybe also another 5 from the other, the regular shopping one.
Surely there should be a thing that if you order 5 of them, you get a DIY recipe.
It's so annoying.
I mean, yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what should happen.
I need about 1,000 street lights, and it's taken me a long while because I can maximum 5 per day. And you can also send a maximum 2 letters per day as well to other residents. It's like, why?
I don't think I've sent a single one.
Well, no, I send loads of stuff to Elodie for hours, even though she's barely playing. But it's like 2 per day or whatever. Or maybe it's residents in other islands anyway. There's always these like annoying limitations.
It's like you say, though,
that's Nintendo.
That's Nintendo Online, isn't it?
It is, but it is also, like James was saying, it's you're supposed to take it a bit slow. Like, obviously, there are ways to game it somewhat. People piss around with like the system clock and stuff.
I don't see the point of that. You also not.
No, I'm with you, Matt. You're supposed to take it slow, but that's just annoying.
Yeah,
like it's still you've got a project in your head. You want to be able to see that through.
Yeah.
That's just annoying, taking it slow. It's weird. All right, okay, it's probably enough Animal Crossing chat.
Yeah, everyone's stopped listening now. I think we should.
They have. Anything else, Matt?
No, that's it.
Well, that's my 2 games out of the way. The only other thing that I've been playing is obviously FIFA. We're banging into that Pro Club stuff, but you don't need to hear about that. So. It's pretty much every night now. It's ridiculous. It's getting to the point where I actually talk about formations in our WhatsApp groups before we start playing. It's getting stupid. Sean?
A couple of short ones. Bravely Default 2 demo. Again, why am I talking about a demo 2 weeks on the trot? Because I've spent over 4 hours on it.
Wow.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's not even like particularly big. It's just that it's just good, and you can spend a lot of time just getting into fights. And like you basically give them one actual objective, which is go to this dungeon, find a fucking magic gem or something. I don't know. But just the process of, I mentioned. So this is like I don't even know what the term is. It's not a vertical slice of the game. It's just a section of the game that's sort of rewritten, and the way progress works is like basically it's all massively fast forwarded. So you're just like the start of the demo is like you got a bunch of characters who are level 1, but they level up way quicker than they would in the actual game. So you can see how things progress over the time. You can mess around with the class system. And, you can like switch people's classes around, figure out some of the interesting sort of cross-class sort of mix-ups that you can do some cool stuff with. So you get a feel for all that stuff in a relatively short space of time. But yeah, I'm just enjoying just messing around with all that stuff and just getting into fights. I've still not even really attempted the main objective yet. And it's just proper good fun, even though it's, I generally don't have time or the inclination to play sort of turn-based like JRPG games. Like I've never, everyone keeps banging on about Persona, never got on with a Persona game, just seemed like the same old shit to me, which I know I'm going to get shot for saying, but whatever. But yeah, I don't know, something about this, it's just, really enjoying it. So yeah, I've cool. Like, I've still not finished it, so I can probably stick another hour on the end at this rate.
Does that progress carry over to the main game?
No, because as I say, this is like a completely separate. Like obviously the environments it uses are lifted from the game, but in terms of like the scenario and dialogue and the missions you're given and stuff, it's all specific to the demo.
Okay.
So yeah, so like obviously at some point in the full game, you'll end up in the same location, but it'll be for a different reason, and people will be saying and doing different things, and it's a really interesting way of doing it. And yeah, it's just a demo, and I've spent 4 hours on it, which is ridiculous. The only other game I'll talk about is Reventure, which I got in the Steam sale, the Switch eShop sale that's on at the moment. It's like £2 or £2.50, something like that. It's a very pixelated 2D platformer that boasts that it has like 100 different endings. And I'd heard, I'd seen people on Twitter saying like, Joe, it's pretty funny actually. Saw it was £2. Thought, why not? For £2, it's pretty much essential. It's like I'm absolutely certain that the jokes will wear thin long before like I ever finish the game. I don't think I ever will, right? But for the enjoyment I've already had out of it, it's been £2 well spent. You basically the multiple endings thing is like so. For example, so you get up in your house and it's like, oh, the king wants to see you because the princess has been kidnapped or whatever, and you go, okay. And it's like, right, you got to go to the west and get your sword, and then you go, okay, I go to the west, I get my sword, and there's like an elder at the cave who tells you, oh, is the sword, just like Zelda reference, oh, it's dangerous to go alone, take this, and you're like, yeah, great. So you're like, oh, what happens if I walk up to the elder and press the attack button? You stab him and kill him, and you get an ending where it says like, yeah, you overcome with bloodlust as soon as you picked up the sword, so you stabbed the elder and then took his wallet, and then it just goes like 4 years later, you get out of prison and you're back in your house, and it's like, right, attempt number 2. And it just keeps like, so I've now had enough endings that like every time I start a new run, it's like year 9, month 3. Like it's
oh, right, so it's totaling them all up for you as well.
Yeah. And so like sometimes,
but can you go back to that elder?
Yeah. Everything basically resets. It's this weird system where, yeah, broadly speaking, pretty much everything resets every time, but you can do things or set things up that then carry on through continuous playthroughs. So I've seen like videos. So like at the start of the game, you have to go to this cave in the west to pick up the sword. But I've seen playthroughs on Twitter where the sword is in the house when you start, right? So there must be a way of engineering that, for example. There must be like a certain ending you get that makes sure the sword is always in your house. So I think the idea is that when you get to the point, like essentially the endings are things that you collect in order to set yourself up to do the actual proper story. But it's just a joy to just fuck about with it. Like, and there's sometimes like getting a certain ending will change like your character's appearance in the like subsequent runs. So I was Santa Claus for a bit, and I've been a cat. Because I died, but I had loads of cats, and one of my cats decided to take on the mission in my place. So then I was a cat. I had one where a dragon breathed fire at me, but I had a shield. But apparently the flame was so intense that it melted the shield into my face. And then it's like, oh yeah, after a few days you managed to pull it off, but you've been completely blinded. And then my character was just like the same guy, but just his little eyes were just hanging out of his face on little stalks. And it's just weird shit. Like that just happens all the time. And as I say, probably it'll stop being funny way before I get to the point where I can actually finish the game. But fine, £2. And it's just been really fun, just constantly just being like, oh, what if I try this? Yep, that's another ending. Like, it's, yeah, really good. Really enjoying it.
Cool. I like the sound of that. Before we start with you, James, I've got a few questions about something that I know that you've got a lot of experience in. Just Dance. Right? Because during the week, Harry remembered that when he was a lot younger, he used to be obsessed with this dancing. So they put the Mario theme into Just Dance, didn't they?
Yes, they a long time ago. Well, no, there was a dancing stage mega mix and stuff like that was Mario, but yeah.
Well, there was Just Dance 3. Trust me, I've been doing a lot of research the past week. Just Dance 3 and Just Dance 2018. They had this Mario dancing thing in. And Harry used to dance along to it on YouTube. So we stuck it on for Charlie, and he loved it as well. So we were like, okay, well, let's get Just Dance. That gets us moving in front of the telly and stuff. Why not? So I had a look and see what version it was on, and it was on 2018. So I had a look on the eShop. Just Dance 2020 was on sale for $19.99. Just Dance 2018 was $13.99. Just Dance 2019 was £13 or whatever. The one before that, the one with Mario on, was $49.99. And I was like, oh, fuck off. The one that we want out of the 3 that's on the Switch we can't get because it's ridiculously priced. But then I noticed that there's this Just Dance Unlimited, right?
Yeah,
do you know about that?
It's their subscription service thing, isn't it? Which is just
so you get a bunch of songs, and then there's Just Dance Kids. Now, is Just Dance Kids, is that all that stuff is included in the main price? Is it?
I have no idea.
So
I don't know.
Just Dance, because I've got Just Dance 2020. So Just Dance. There's a game. Just Dance Kids is like a section within Just Dance 2020, and it's just like the kiddie songs.
But the kiddie songs aren't listed on that main page, are they? So I don't know what's on them.
Oh, I don't know. And then the unlimited thing is like a separate thing on top where
you pay a subscription.
Yeah, and you get shitloads. Otherwise, you have to play like the non-kid version. There's like a single-player campaign where you get songs and they gradually fill up your library. But if you don't want to do that or you want new ones, that's when you can get the limited thing. And if you buy 2020 like I did, you get like a month trial.
Yeah, a free trial. Yeah.
But 19, does 19 still give you access to the unlimited songs? I think it does, doesn't it? Or do they cut that off? So you could buy the cheaper one just to get the 1 month's unlimited.
I don't know, James. You probably know more than me about. I haven't played this one.
No idea. No.
I'm assuming the unlimited doesn't include the Mario one either because I couldn't see it on there.
No, I don't think that was probably just for exclusive for early versions.
Sake. So the only way we're going to get that one song that
you got to pony
Harry
up
likes
50
dancing to is 50 quid. Right, I'm not doing it. It's fucking ridiculous. But when I saw that, I thought, is that deliberate? But for one song, are they really good? I don't know. I was fucked off about the whole thing, to be honest with you, and I nearly chucked the Switch out the window. So that wouldn't have gone down too well. I just needed to ask that, right? James, what have you got for us?
Well, I mean, I've got two games that are... One of them is quite old now, and the other one's a bit more recent. But I know that, Dave, you played both of these. And I think one of them you probably got similar opinions, but one probably not. So I've gone through Concrete Genie. I played and finished last week because both of these are really short games. And I mean, I really wanted to play it before because I really like the visual style. And when I saw it on was it on one of those PlayStation Directs they first showed it, and it looked like a really nice sort of combination of like platforming and art and all that kind of thing. I thought that looks brilliant.
No platforming in that.
But it's not. Yeah, it's that's the only thing that I didn't like so much about this because I really found like the first 2/3 of the game are very repetitive, and I think it really depends on how much you care about creating like works of art as to whether you're going to really engage with that or not. And for me,
you don't come across as an artiste to me, James. If I'm
I'm not. Honest. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of doing that because I'm terrible at drawing or anything like that. I'm just awful at it. I mean, Asher is probably better than me.
It does a pretty good job of like overcoming that barrier, though. Doesn't it?
I mean, because it's basically like pre-made like things that you put up on the wall, and then you can like choose how you want it to look and all that kind of thing.
Which is out of interest before you continue with that, because I think this is a large part of what I liked about it. How much combining stuff did you do?
You mean combining what the different like patterns,
the different elements?
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
So you notice that some elements combine with other elements to give you a completely different, like mixing colours, basically.
Yeah, if you get like grass and stuff, then you can add like fire and things like that, and it combines and creates different things. Yeah.
Yeah. Like so, my favourite was if you get water and add snow, it turns that water into ice. Then when you add sun to it, it reflects that sun back in a different way than what it would have done if it was just water. Like that stuff meant that you can create some really unique feeling things, even though it's all pre-made and stuff, predetermined.
And it does look amazing as well. Like the stuff that you make
does, yeah.
No, some of it does really look really good, particularly like towards the end. The only thing is, though, I still found that repetitive, though, because you're basically doing the same thing over and over again with a limited like palette, which gets a bit irritating. But then also, because the exploration of the side of the game is not at all what I thought it was going to be. Like, I really thought there was going to be a lot more sort of like platforming and exploring, and there isn't really.
When you say the exploration side of the game, you mean there is none? There is none. I mean, it's very linear.
Yeah, and which is a bit kind of annoying, and the movement feels really clunky as well. Like the way he jumps and all that kind of thing isn't great.
Yeah, I said that at the time. It feels like a B tier platformer in terms of movement, not what you're doing, but in terms of movement. Where it's like slightly too quick after you press the like forward, and very sort of, I don't know. There's a weird feeling to games like that where the jump doesn't feel. It feels like you're starting an animation rather than controlling a jump. If that makes sense.
So that I wasn't so keen on. But then in the final third of the game, they give you like this really, really great new mechanic that makes the whole game feel like Jet Set Radio suddenly. And then you're just thinking, why was this not introduced earlier? To like mix things up a bit and to make it a bit more interesting. Because you're like sliding around the place and it feels great, like movement when you do that. I mean, did you find that, Dave, or not really?
Yeah, I can see why they didn't let you have that straight away. Because they want you to go through the environment slowly and because kind of force you to do the painting stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, if you're just like screaming through from place to place, then you're not going to stop, look around, and paint some.
I agree with that, but I think what they could have done is they could have like maybe done it in sections or something to try and break up the flow a bit, like because bring it towards the end of each chapter or something, where you did something like that rather than just doing it right at the end. I mean, I also felt it could have done without the combat as well because I didn't think that was very good. I mean,
I didn't think it was very good, but I thought it was a nice change up to what you've been doing throughout the game. Like I think. You know what it felt like? It felt like after it gave you that sort of movement, that new way of moving, it felt like the game should have gone on for a few hours longer. Rather than it being introduced earlier, there should have been a longer part of the end game, you know what I mean? That just wasn't there. It ends abruptly after that, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that is the other thing, is it does end like really abruptly. Like you've done that and then that's it. It's kind of done.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And it's like, I just wish there could have been a bit more sort of exploration and a bit more of that, because that was the fun part, I thought, of the game. Although I did think it told a reasonably good story, like a friendship and that kind of thing. I thought it was It was pretty nice.
It's not the best game ever made, but I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. Like I did enjoy playing it. There was a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you about. The first being Super Paint being mentioned over and over again. Have they fucking changed that, or is it still as irritating as it was back then?
Yeah, I don't remember them mentioning that a lot. Did they do that a lot when you played then?
God, yeah. It was, I gotta get the Super Paint. I've run out of Super Paint. I gotta get some more Super Paint. And I'm like, God, please stop calling it Super Paint. It is irritating the fuck out of me.
No, I think they must have patched that, because it didn't do that for me. In fact, I don't think I remember it ever saying that. It's
Really?
Yeah, honestly. I remember him saying, like, "Oh, I'm out of Super Paint," and that was about it. I don't remember him saying that he needed it. He said that
over and over again for me. It was really frustrating. Also, those masterpieces that you do at the end of every sort of area.
Yeah.
What they call them? They don't call them masterpieces.
They're called masterpieces, yeah.
Right, okay, yeah, the masterpieces. They were the worst bits of art in the whole thing, right?
Yeah, they look awful.
Because the idea is that you had the freedom of putting whatever you wanted up on the wall, Sean, and creating these murals, and they all look nice because they felt personal and stuff. When you get to the masterpieces, it tells you what to put on the wall. No. And, like, because they are massive bits of space or whatever that you're painting onto, they give you about 50 different things to put on. So by the end of it, it just looks like a mess of shit that you've put on there.
A shame.
And it's because it keeps on like popping up and saying, add this one. No, add this one and this one and this one. And then it just looks like a massive jumble of like...
Yeah, what's supposed to be like the sort of centrepiece of everything you've done turns into this just fucking mess. Which is a shame. But... yeah, I mean, not a bad game. I swear. Like, I mean, is it on PS Now? Is this how you played this?
No, it was just I bought it when it was in a sale at the end of last year, because it was about I think it was about £9 or something like that. And
fucking hell for that.
Yeah,
it's definitely
I mean,
I'd recommend it definitely. Yeah. What was the other game?
So the other, I mean, I finished Blood and Truth like over the stream.
Fucking hell, you
go
did.
And watch that
oh
on
my
YouTube.
God.
I'll say this, right, so, just to explain, there's a bit at the end of the game where you have a face-off with the main bad guy throughout the game, and it's clear that he's about to start this whole monologue that's supposed to be the whole ending, before you finally take him down. But James walks into the room and just shot him in the head before he even said, he was like, well.
Oh, it's the
and then you went,
funniest.
That's it, I'm done.
The funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I know, it's fucking hilarious.
But I wasn't expecting that to happen, honestly. I just thought, can I shoot him? I'm going to try and shoot him. And then I did, and it worked. And I thought, And then I thought it was going to
It's amazing that the game let you do that. right? Because usually the game, if they wanted you to hear the monologue at the end, they would just make you lower your gun and you can't do shit with it. But also, if you go and search people streaming this game, way more common than you'd think.
Really?
Way more common than you'd think. Like, it's crazy. To us, we watch it and we think, well, he's clearly starting a monologue. But I guess the combination of being in VR and seeing the guy that you've hated throughout the game, and you know that you've got a gun in your hand, I guess it's an instinct to just raise the gun and shoot him there and then.
Well, especially because, like everyone...
a lot of people do that.
Unless it's part of a, like a cutscene where you got literally no control over it. Like, every person in front of you is usually pointing a gun at you. So, your instinct is like, fuck, shoot him.
And he had a gun on the table next to him as well.
Yeah.
So you're just thinking...
You see, he took it all in, Dave. It wasn't just a snap decision. He assessed the situation. He knew what he was doing.
I thought it was going to fade to black and just be like, oh, I'm going to have to do that again. But then it didn't.
But it was the fact that James went, there you go, after shooting him, right? It was like someone had they were filming, like he was on set and James was an actor, and there was supposed to be this big thing and he just ruined the whole last scene. Walking on set, shooting the main guy, go, there you go, is that it? You got that? Is that a wrap? It was so funny. Go on.
But it was an excellent game though. Like, it was really fun. Like, I mean,
it looks a lot of fun.
I don't think hardly anybody was watching or anything because you can't tell, because when you're on PSVR you just can't tell.
Standard figures for us, I think.
But it was a lot of fun, like, to actually to play through. It's definitely, I mean, behind Astrobot, it's probably the most fun I've had in PSVR. Like, it's just really good. I mean, it feels just like Call of Duty or whatever, but in VR, and that's fine. It's it's really, really good game.
Okay.
The only other game I played The Order 1886, which I bought ages ago. No, because this is the thing. This is the thing, right? Because I played through this over, like, I don't know, about two days, because it's really short. It's not a long game at all. And I bought this ages ago because it was I think it was less than $5, like, when I bought it. And that may be one of the reasons why I quite liked it, because it was very cheap. And I do remember that the game's reception was really poor. Yeah. Largely because...
I don't know if it was really poor. The main criticisms that were being, like, flung at it were
it's too short.
Really, really, really short.
Yeah.
Like, needlessly short.
It sort of suffered from the fact that it looked like it was going to be a bit of a sort of early generation showcase, didn't it? But then it was delayed by about a year. Yeah.
See, I think that people thought this was going to be like a Gears of War kind of thing, like a massive, like, thing. That's what the expectation was with this. And it was like a technical showcase. It was going to be this big shooter and all that kind of stuff, with cover-based shooting and all that kind of stuff. And it's not really that at all, because really this is just like an interactive story. That's all it is. And if you play it like that and you have very low expectations, this is quite a good game. And I think it is worth playing. Considering especially the shortness didn't bother me at all, because I felt that it was about the right length, considering the story they were trying to tell. And the combat was fine. It was nothing special, but it was good enough. And
world building's decent.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, I remember the building of the characters and the setting and the ideas, I thought worked quite well.
I mean, the tone's a bit weird because it does feel like extremely violent, like through most of the game, like needlessly. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, but there's that, and there's that whole thing where it's like, oh, there are vampires now, are there? Right?
Yeah.
And that's not a plot twist. It's not treated like a plot twist. I don't know if it's a, what they call it, steampunk.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a steampunk thing, but I remember them just going, "Oh no, the vampires," and I was going, "What vampires? Where's this come from?"
They've been calling them that. Well, they've not been calling them vampires, but they've been calling them. What are they calling them? I've forgotten. They give them another name, but that's basically what they are. They're vampires. Like from the beginning of the game.
Don't they literally call them vampires at one point when you're burning the coffins? When you're burning the coffins.
I think they call them half-breeds. I can't remember what they call them. It's not. I don't think they call them vampires though.
No, I can't remember. My memory's hazy.
But it was, but in general, I thought it worked quite well, and I was really happy with it. Probably because I'd paid less than £5 for it, and I thought this is a reasonably entertaining story that I'm playing here.
Yeah, how good does it look nowadays?
It still looks really good. It's honestly, I wouldn't say I was blown away by it or anything, but it still looks like really nice. I mean, it's got like weird aspect ratio though that it's like played in. It's got like borders.
Yeah, it's got borders on it. Yeah.
Which is a bit odd. And I saw some videos a while ago on YouTube where they were talking about that as being like that was a technical choice because it gives like a wider field of view or something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work. It doesn't.
I remember the air blimp level being a particular highlight.
Mm-hmm.
Just the detail around the industrial feel of that air blimp was great.
But the world building absolutely was fantastic. I mean, there's more you could do with this, and I've heard rumours that there probably will be another one.
Really?
Like for PS5, yeah. That there's like rumours there's going to be a PS5 version.
Who made it?
It's Ready at Dawn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean they did mostly like they did Vita games, didn't they? Like Daxter and some other stuff that was like that. And but
weren't the weapons like really fucking wacky and cool as well?
Yeah, I mean they weren't bad. I mean there's nothing that I found really
I thought there was some
exciting.
Really weird ones like a disc that could
I didn't come across that
or some shit.
I mean, it's got all like the usual like interactive like things for like doing puzzles and all that sort of stuff. It had like door unlocking nonsense as well. But
that's how long? So the 5-hour game went onto a 20-hour game.
Yeah, I mean it took about 15. But yeah. But no, it was fine. But honestly, if you can get it really cheap, or it's on like PlayStation Now or whatever like that, I really think it's worth a play. Just for like 2 nights or whatever. Of if you just want to play a story, it's good. It's really
the weirdest games, man.
Right. I just started Uncharted 4 though, and like yesterday, about 2 days ago. Dave, it's really good. Like
how far into it are you?
I've just got to the bit where I can't say anything because can I spoil it?
Yeah, of course you can. The stuff in the attic, right? You done all that.
That was fantastic.
When you sit down to play the game,
play Crash Bandicoot. That was like a shock. That was great. And then
I thought that was wonderful because at the time, pretty much every review outlet kept that a secret.
Yeah, that's
everyone kept that a secret. Come out. No, it was a great surprise. But then
I had no idea. Yeah, when I played it,
once the YouTubers got hold of it, fucking hell. Of just the thumbnail saying, play Crash Bandicoot. This is the Crash Bandicoot bit in Uncharted 4. It's like, oh, come on. But yeah, no, it's good. It's very good.
I've just got up to the bit where his brother turns up again. And and that's as far as I've got.
The only advice I've got for you, right, is that if you ever get to a point where the combat feels a little bit, drawn out and cumbersome, experiment a bit. Like, because there's way more experimentation to be had in that game than it first appears. You can fuck around a lot with those ropes and stuff, and incorporating that into your combat, and that's how you get the most out of that combat, I think. But that's not a player's fault. That's the game not explaining that actually, if you combine all these little bits and pieces you can do around the map, that you can actually create some good stuff. It doesn't present itself other than a cover shooter, but there's a lot more to that combat than what you first think.
But the stuff in the attic though was brilliant. Like the way you're going around picking up stuff from previous encounters and stuff, and he's like commenting on it, and yeah, it's just and also
it's the tutorial as well, so it teaches you how to shoot and stuff, but using that dark gun or whatever it is.
The bit before that as well, when you're doing the dive, and you're like, you think that you're somewhere exotic or whatever, and then you like come out of the water and it's like it's a city, and you're just doing a rubbish job and all that. I thought that was superb as well. I
forgot about that. Yeah, that was great because you were a diver for that. Yeah, the boat company or whatever. Yeah. No, yeah, I mean they really do up the storytelling in this one. It's good.
Yeah, it's significantly better than any of the previous 3 games I've found so far.
Still pretty lame, but all right, we done?
Yeah, that's me.
Do emails then.
Emails. If you want to email us, send an email to podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Jonathan Kemp says, after your discussions over the new PS5 controller, I've been thinking about controllers in general and whether we'll ever see any radical change in that department. Basically, it seems that Nintendo seem to be the main innovators, introducing the D-pad, shoulder buttons and analog stick. You could say Sony brought us twin sticks, but it's just a slight evolution. Nintendo then brought us the Wiimote and its infamous waggle. This was copied to some extent by the PlayStation Move controllers, which could then be seen as a progenitor of VR controllers. The last attempt at something different was probably the Steam controller. Do you ever think we'll ever see anyone try something new, or have we reached the end of any revolutionary changes?
It's weird how our technology does that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this about phones as well.
Yeah.
So do you remember phones was like, fucking hell, that does that now? Fuck, what the fuck is going on here? And now, for the past, 4 or 5 years, it's been like...
slightly better.
The bezels are a little bit... That when the race to, like, try and make the bezels as small as possible, that's what phones are now.
And what makes me laugh is that, like, especially, like, with Samsung phones, so they've had the curved glass for a while. And now whenever Samsung put out a phone that doesn't have the curved glass, all the reviews are like, yeah, do you know what? I'm bored of the curved glass now. Just give me a flat one, please. It's better. Some fewer angles it can get smashed from. But yeah, in terms of game controllers, I mean, so the Steam controller was certainly an attempt at doing something new, but pretty much everyone hated it, if I remember rightly, because, they were selling them for like a $5. And even then, I think, because I tweeted about it, it's like £5. Surely it's worth having one for £5, and loads of people still like no, do not get it. It's an absolute waste of space.
Surely... I don't know what the next innovation will be.
I mean, surely it's got to be in future VR controllers as well, like whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue, the Valve Index and the current Quest stuff, like the fact there's finger tracking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but then we're talking on the sort of like across the board.
Yeah.
Like those things are not going to replace traditional controllers on traditional console games, are they?
There was a pretty good interview with Gabe Newell in Edge last month, which talked about how at Valve he's working like with these people talking about like brain interface and stuff like that, and he was like, no, seriously, and he was like, he was like, in about 9 years' time, whatever, he could see this being the main thing.
Yeah, but he also made the Steam controller. So let's all calm down a little bit.
I mean, because the VR controller thing is interesting because more than any traditional controller, they feel like an extension of your hands, right? But so in terms of, because the main thing for me is that the traditional controller, as we now know it, is still really intimidating to a lot of people. Like, you can't just put it in the hands of someone who doesn't really play games and expect them to know what a shoulder button or a face button is, or why there are 2 sticks and why that's different from the D-pad. And, there's so much stuff to take in. So the VR controllers are a lot better in that sense, in a way. Like, they've got buttons on them, but, most games it's pretty much you move your hands around and you point at things or you grip things and it all feels pretty natural. But the intimidation is replaced by the fucking VR headset. Like, normal people don't really like putting VR headsets on in most situations. So, but then, would there be any merit in like a VR style controller for a game you were playing on your TV? Probably not.
I don't think so. Because I think the fact that there's like an abstraction between you and what you're doing on the TV can actually be one of the benefits of like using a controller and stuff, rather than being like fully immersed. Because you're not fully immersed, but it's still part of the fun is like working with the controller. I mean, the whole thing of like, controllers are difficult for people and stuff like that. I wonder how much that is changing now anyway, as more people have grown up with video games.
Yeah.
Like, and whether people feel that anymore as much. If I give like one of my kids like another controller that's like a PlayStation controller or whatever, they pick that up and they can start using it straight away. It's like not a problem for them, even if they've never used that kind of controller before. They still understand the concept of how it works. And I think maybe going forward, more people are going to feel like that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that we haven't got like small touch screens on the next gen pads. I thought that was going to happen.
So you mean like actual screens rather than just the touch?
Yeah, just actual screens. You say that, Matt, but you get like, I mean, you can buy like a fake Apple Watch for like 20 quid. Do you know what I mean? And they've got touch screens on them. They're not great, but they've got them on there.
But what's the benefit? And it's also like the battery. The battery would be the main issue. I'd imagine
having the UI on. I mean, as we said, these
problems you have to like look down in it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the Wii U was, wasn't it?
No,
it was great, out, James. Like, so what's your point?
You're playing a game, and then you look down at your pad, and you can select a game to switch to. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about interacting with the game that you're playing. Like, I'm not talking about
some more like system level stuff rather than
system level stuff. Like, you can flick between options to record 30 seconds, the last minute or whatever. You could just do all that because it displays that on the pad.
See, I could see them doing something like that similar to, like on like MacBook Pros, you have like the
touch bar.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm thinking. The touch bar.
And you can like configure it, for like whatever you want to do with it or whatever. Something like that would be pretty good. If you could like have configurable buttons that.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm not talking about the Wii U where you've got the map on the pad in front of you.
I'm not talking about like an LCD screen, sort of like embedded in the pad.
I'm talking like an Apple Watch sized little like square on the pad that's touchscreen and completely customizable, or lets you operate things in the OS or whatever. And instead of pressing the home button, going to your games, picking what game you want, just like looking down at your pad and then going to games, this game, switching to that, like without having to come out the game that you currently got on screen. It just seems like a really slick way of doing it. And I there was part of me that was thinking, actually, next gen I can see that happening, but obviously it hasn't, or it's certainly not been on the pads that we've been shown so far, which is a shame.
I don't think we've reached the end of there being revolutionary change. It will happen. It's just when the time is right and when
someone needs
comes
the right
up with
idea,
something.
don't they?
I suppose I haven't incorporated more. I mean, I know you can do certain things within the phone apps, but if you're away from your controller or machine, or you make a cup of tea or whatever, maybe like you can use the app on your pad to have like a quick view of the OS to select things. Or I know you can
but that's essentially what I'm suggesting.
Yeah,
but the problem is it's a ball ache to go into the app, wait for it to load, which obviously doesn't take too long. But then, I've been using the app a lot for Animal Crossing, actually, because it makes talking to villagers a lot easier. But, I mean, even then, you've got to open it up, and then it goes, do you want to use voice? No. Go here to Animal Crossing, then go to the thing. Whereas, all right, typing is not possible in what I'm suggesting, but at least doing all the other stuff, I don't know. I think,
particularly because OLED screens they don't use battery. Where it's if they're not lighting, a small diode, then it's not using battery. So you could have a lot of black icons and to quick select things.
That's true. Yeah,
that wouldn't take much battery power at all.
Well, I said the Apple Watch lasts a couple of days. You know what I mean? It's I don't think the battery thing is too much of an issue. But, okay, all right. Is that it?
We all weighed in, didn't we? Yeah. Right, fine. Grant Butler says, why does everyone want a built-in battery? I hate the Xbox One, but it gets one thing right, and that's the removable batteries. Everyone talks about having to buy AA's as if rechargeables and even battery packs don't exist. Are these the same people who love Apple making all their batteries non-removable? Everyone else copied, and now you have to break your phone to replace the battery. Sent from my iPhone.
I mean, I don't think everyone does. I don't think everyone did love it when Apple started doing it. I think that was the all come. Am I wrong in thinking that all comes down to the sort of the want for people to make their phones waterproof?
Yes,
that's one of the main reasons.
It's also to make it as thin as possible.
Oh, right, I suppose. Yeah. Be more efficient.
Also, you don't need to break your iPhone. It's more expensive, and you just take it to a shop and get them to do it. You don't have to do it yourself. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's better than being able to just buy a new battery and then slide it in. But here we are.
I'm really torn on this subject. I love the fact that I can just, I've got loads of AA batteries next to me. I can put a new one in the Xbox pad, done, right? But then
I've just got this image of you trying to put AA batteries in your iPhone.
There's 2% left. Fucking come on.
Whatever it takes. So on one hand, it's okay, that's really nice and easy, and especially with rechargeable batteries. And actually, I haven't got the play-in charge kit. Have you got it for your Xboxes? Anyone?
Oh God, yeah.
First thing I bought.
Because I love the 360, but I'd never bought it with the one. Just never bothered. But I probably should do.
You see, because I've got my nice custom Xbox One controller, so I assume getting the back panel to match that.
Well,
no, you don't. Well, the back panel's not connected
for the play-in charge kit. But surely it needs so it replaces the battery panel with a big rechargeable battery, doesn't it?
No. It's just a little plastic square bit. Yeah, and then that goes in where the batteries would normally go, and then you put your normal cover on the back of it. Then they're great. They're great.
Yeah, I should probably get that.
You get a really nice long cable for it, and the charge lasts for ages. So yeah, highly recommend.
But on one hand, it's nice and easy, just putting batteries in the Xbox One. But then, obviously, the perfect world would be the PlayStation Pad that keeps its charge for ages, but it doesn't. So exactly. I obviously, perfect world. I want a built-in battery that's amazing, but as it is, the battery is shit on the PS4, so therefore, currently, I prefer the Xbox One because it's easier to put new batteries in, and they last longer.
Yeah, and also, so after about 3 to 4 years, my plug-and-charge kit didn't hold battery as well as it had been. But then that was just cheaper to just get a new battery than it was to get a whole new controller. So I suppose that was a plus. It is, incidentally, though, it is really simple to switch out your battery on a PS4. There's plenty of guides on YouTube or whatever. So if you're really struggling with it, and you can buy batteries with larger capacities because the cradle that holds the battery on the PS4 controller is way larger than the battery itself. So you can now just buy bigger you can buy bigger batteries. All right. Have a look into it.
Grant also sent us a second email that said Final Fantasy VII was the first Final Fantasy in Europe and the UK, sent from my iPhone.
Okay, thanks. There's a little
although it wasn't.
No, we had was it Mystic Quest or whatever?
Yeah, there's Final Fantasy Adventure on the Game Boy, which was actually as Mystic Quest, but it wasn't a mainline game, so yeah, that's fine.
Dave Hardman says
that is fine. That one.
Hi guys, first of all, I'd like to say a massive thank you for sharing your bone shows on YouTube. You guys have been social distancing in the UK for a few weeks now, but as I'm in China, luckily nowhere near Wuhan, I haven't been able to do much since mid-January. So massive thank you for helping me keep sane during this lockdown period. Also to Dave for talking about the car boot videos he was watching a few months back, which also kept me entertained for a few days.
They're pretty good.
This question is for Sean. I'm also interested in modding my Switch with the D-pad Joy-Con. But in your opinion, does it improve gameplay for the older games on the Nintendo Online service and Tetris 99? Does it feel good to press like a proper D-pad, or does it feel a bit substandard? I don't mind the fiddliness of putting it together, as I'm already on my third left Joy-Con stick due to drift. Would love to hear your thoughts. The D-pad is nice. It feels great. I don't know if it's like made a huge difference to anything in particular, but certainly like if you're worried about the way it feels, probably go for it. I think I said did I say on the show last week, I'm like my right Joy-Con I think is on its last legs. Every time I press the home button it disconnects. It's great.
So you'll have to take that apart, put the old cover back on, then send it in.
Well, I mean it's out of warranty anyway, so
okay.
Fuck it. I guess you're gonna have to...
well out of warranty. Yeah. I mean, I'm tempted to get a whole new set of Joy-Cons.
I've been weighing it up.
I mean, I want to get a whole new case for the fucking console itself because the flap's gone. You know, the kickstand's gone. Yeah, the card, the game card holder, that's gone. So
the only thing that's gone on mine is like the speaker grill. Like there's like 4 or 5 bits of plastic to cover that, or all but one of them has snapped off. So,
really?
Yeah,
but the other bits are fine. I don't know. Maybe it's in my bag and stuff. It's in the case, but everything else is fine.
Yeah, how's the screen on yours, James?
Well, mine's okay, apart from when we were away, like last time. There is now a massive scratch on the screen, which I'm absolutely certain was Asher who did that. And but he won't admit it.
Obviously.
So we're at the stage now where it's like, okay, we won't talk about this anymore, but we all know who did it. That's kind of what's happened situations. And it's annoying because
the reason why I ask is you're the only one that didn't put a screen protector on it, and there was that whole big hoo-ha before it come out. It's like when you dock it scratches it to fuck.
See that never happened, but this scratch is annoying because it's in the top right hand corner, and you can definitely see it whenever you're playing games, and that's irritating. But but everything else is all right. Nothing else has fallen off mine yet. But the games, I hate that game card slot though. It's awful.
It's shit, isn't it?
It feels like it's going to come off every time you open it. It
feels so cheap. Well, mine has. The bits of plastic that hold it into place are just snapped. And again, we all know who it was, but so mine is just flapping open. That's how my Switch is. So it feels like I want a new Switch, but I'm all fucked off. Matt sent everyone in the WhatsApp group a link to some discounted Joy-Cons in the week, and they were about 15 quid cheaper than they are at full price.
They were 60 quid, were they?
I think 60 quid, and they're usually 75, right?
RRP.
Yeah, it's the purple and mustard ones. I was like, no, I think I'll pass. I can't. Purple and mustard. I can't.
I'd be all right with that. I don't know.
Also, they do that weird thing, Nintendo, where the default left controller is blue, the default right controller is red, but if you want a pair of new ones, they flip the colours around.
Yeah, because that's the ones I've got.
So then, you could have
like the opposite side of yours.
Two red,
Yeah, or they've both broken, and now you've got it flipped around the other way. Or one of them's broken, so you want to buy two because it's cheaper and have one in reserve, but then you can't have the normal setup. It makes no sense. It's weird. All right, okay.
Oliver Wiseman says, how long do you think it'll be before VR games are played by more people than conventional TV games?
Can I say never?
Yeah, well, I would say about 150 years.
It's a long way off, isn't it? I wouldn't say never because technology's mental, but I don't know.
In our lifetime, Sean?
Not in our lifetime, no.
No, not in our lifetime. It's the social thing, isn't it? It's that sealing yourself off from your environment, which I think is always good. I can't ever see that not being weird to some extent.
Not without them being able to switch it on and off like nothing happens. Like, you know, on the Quest that you can press the button and you can see through the lenses, but it's all like low quality and black and white and looks horrible. Makes you want to be sick. If they nail that to the point where it just looks normal, then that'll be a game changer, I think. But they're not going to do that anytime soon.
Seth Brown says, wondered if you could offer some advice. My 6-year-old daughter has started to show an interest in games. Being the supportive father I am, I was thinking of getting her a second-hand Nintendo DS and a couple of games for her to play. Used to have a Switch, but I think between the sticks and the user interface, it was all a bit overwhelming for her. She enjoyed some Mario Kart, but ultimately I think there was just a little too much going on for her to really enjoy it. Hence my thoughts on a DS, D-pad, simple UI, etc., etc. However, I've never owned one, and taking a look on eBay, Nintendo seemed to have pulled the let's release 300 fucking versions of it and expect everyone to know what's going on. Firstly, would you recommend a DS for a 6-year-old to mess around with as a first console/handheld, and if so, which version? Also, any games you can recommend I pick up for her?
I absolutely would, but is this 3DS or DS?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, it just says DS, but then surely the 2DS is probably...
Yeah, the 2DS is definitely the one to go for. Yeah. But the one which is just the all-in-one unit, not the one that's got a hinge, because that's not very good.
Did they do a hinge to 2DS? I didn't realise they did.
Oh, they did, okay. My son's got one.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
It's not very good. It's prone to breaking. It's not very good at all. But the main one, which is just the unit in one, is very good.
Are they still making them?
I mean, I would say the thing is though, although the DS is nicer, I reckon the Switch would still be. I mean, it's not the complexity of the game is down to the software.
Plus the number of buttons, picking the right software. The DS or the 3DS have still got
the full range, haven't they?
Yeah, not too different.
Yeah, but they're missing a couple of shoulder buttons.
Sticks. That's it. It's just the two sticks and the shoulder buttons.
Yeah. I would persevere with the Switch, but pick the games carefully.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good ones out there to, try her out with.
I think he said he used to have a Switch.
Doesn't have a Switch anymore.
I think he doesn't have
one.
Oh, right,
buy a new Switch.
Buy another Switch, there you go. What games are we thinking?
Get a Switch Lite,
Get a Switch Lite, yeah.
I wouldn't know where to start in terms of games, any suggestions?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the early ones that Harry got into. I mean, Mario Odyssey is brilliant.
Yep.
Relatively simple if you if you want
are
it
we
to
sticking
be.
with the Switch then? Are we?
I was going to say, I think we need to give a lower cost option than say, here's a £300 console we should probably buy. I mean, he said, would you recommend a DS?
They're not
Switch
lower price,
mate, a Switch Lite you can get sub £200.
Not anymore, you can't. They've all gone up in price because people have been scalping them.
Plus, I'm assuming if he's talking second-hand DS, he's looking to spend about a tenth of that.
40 quid. Yeah, you're probably right. I would still say don't get a DS because those games are surprisingly complex. I mean, even you look at new Super Mario Bros. On that thing, it's way harder than you'd think. Like Harry would struggle playing New Super Mario Bros. On a DS, whereas Super Mario Maker he can play.
Would a Game Boy Advance be the way forward then? If simplicity,
baby.
If it's original DS, there are all those like touch generation games and everything you can get.
That's true.
And I think you could probably get them very cheap by now. But like stuff like WarioWare and things like that would be very simple.
This. Get an Xbox One X, Rocket League, get a Pro controller, because nothing but the best for your kids.
God, the Game Boy Advance SP is not cheap on eBay. Still,
no, they've all gone up. Those things.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I'll tell you what. Have you still got one of those micros, Sean?
I've got 2, mate.
Stockpiling.
I, from time to time, I look at those online and just think I could buy another one of those.
How much they go for?
They're expensive now.
Yeah,
everything's expensive now.
It is, right, okay. I hope that helps.
Yeah, sorry, that was shite, wasn't it? Maria Mendieta says, since you create varied and enjoyable streaming output on your channel, thought I would ask, what celebrity would you select as a streaming co-host for one another?
Oh, God.
Dr. Farley's upcoming stream of Media Molecules Dreams, having Neil Buchanan at his side might make for some entertaining banter or lack thereof.
Absolutely not. The only person James would be able to stream with when David Cage releases his next game. David Cage sitting next to him while James plays it is going to be brilliant. Not so much because I think, James is going to be really harsh on the game and then David Cage is going to be offended at stuff. Because I don't even think it will go that way. I think James is too, if this was a real situation, James would be too polite to just rip the game to pieces, and that would make it even better viewing because you know what he's thinking, but you know that he's just trying to be nice. And David Cage is when he goes off on his rants about the emotion that he wanted in a certain scene, you know that James would be just like a boiling point.
Everyone's just watching his face. Yeah.
Just be like, yeah.
Dooting in the chat. Just fucking going mental. Yeah. That's the one for James.
I'm trying to think who would best to have for Dave's.
God, yeah, who can temper Dave?
Come on.
I don't know why, but Robbie Savage just came to my head.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it'd be funny.
Yeah. What, playing what?
I don't know. Playing FIFA.
No,
there you go.
No, wouldn't it be better if Robbie Savage and Dave was playing like a walking simulator or something? Or like an arty game?
Yeah, that would piss me off, actually, because he'd be sitting there with his voice and his opinions, and I'd just be like, mate, shut the fuck up. Not a fan. Matt would the pressure of streaming with a really famous Twitch streamer that he's co-streaming with. The amount of pressure he puts under himself about his streams anyway. And if Ninja's sitting there next to him while he's doing it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Ninja.
You'd be worried about everything you do. That would make for a good stream. And of course, easy one for Sean, Gordon Ramsay, while he's doing his Bell's Kitchen.
That would be so good.
The fuck are you doing? You're reading from a book. Come on, man.
Stopping every 2 seconds to check the recipe again. Still getting it wrong.
You dropped it on the floor, man. That's
the
sort of stuff he says, isn't it?
Can one of us have Dave Benson Phillips? I feel like he'd be...
Yeah, why not?
He could have a career on Twitch if he wanted.
Why not?
I mean, that probably wouldn't cost much to sort out anyway.
That's true. He's a good guy.
We could get going.
I'll do that.
Fan.
I mean, not me.
That's it for the emails.
Cool.
Cool.
Tweets again. Pod on Twitter if you want to tweet us. Dan has done that at TreeSmurf on Twitter. After the success of games like Breath of the Wild, God of War, and Resi 4, which game series do you think should reinvent itself in the same way?
Did we have this question last week?
Yeah, we did.
Well, we had this exact question last week.
It was exactly this question.
It wasn't exactly this question, was it?
Yeah, because we said Metal Gear.
Yeah.
No, I think we said remakes. That's not reinvention. That's different.
Oh,
well,
we had the same question last week.
These aren't remakes. These
Matthew
are like
Murray. Okay, our next question.
Well, it's different. It's not. It's not.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's hear your answer then. Let's hear your answer.
Okay.
Well, probably Metal Gear. Matt G. Sanders. Hi, lads. Since lockdown, we've been having some family fun time in our house, which involves me, my wife, my son 8, my daughter 3 playing Xbox games together. Any games on Game Pass that you recommend? We're currently playing Overcooked 1 and 2, the moving out demo, and have the game pre-ordered. Toy Box Turbos, Trackmania, Trials Fusion. I mean, basically... Oh, yeah, I was going to say, totally reliable delivery service got removed as it made the wife travel sick. Aren't all the Lego games on...
Yeah, that's probably be a
Game Pass.
Yeah,
I should play it.
Yeah, they're bound to have one on a series that you like. Yeah,
they are pretty boring though, aren't they?
Are they boring?
They are.
Or are they great for kids?
Yeah, they're for kids. What? You see, I don't agree. I never agree with that as a standpoint. I don't want to get into this again.
But kids enjoy them?
I see what you're saying, but some of the stuff in there is great. Like Harry loved the Incredibles one. I've spoken about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck has happened to that new Star Wars one that they were talking loads about last year?
Still in
it's
the
supposed
works.
to be like
It's a
okay.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a big one. Isn't it like it's like the entire fucking franchise, but playable in different time periods?
Yeah,
and
it's
all
the entire
sorts of
Skywalker saga, isn't it? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, so I'm excited. Full Metal Furies. I've never played it, but a lot of people say it's really good and it's a great co-op game. It's all there's like 4 different characters, but we all have sort of really different abilities, so you have to like communicate and work together and stuff. Maybe leave out the 3-year-old, but yeah. That's meant to be really good, and that's on Game Pass.
There's a game I'm going to buy LED at some point. I think it comes out in May. It's that new SpongeBob SquarePants game, Battle for Bikini Bottom. She loves the show, and
SpongeBob's still going, or is it just reruns? And
there's a new film coming out.
Yeah, that's been delayed now. That's maybe out in May. Now it's out in July. But yeah, that film looks great, and we're going to go to cinema to see that for sure. But she absolutely loves SpongeBob, so we're going to play that hopefully. Right, Sean Thomas at Sean S. Thomas on Twitter. Are you finding there are titles that you're not in the right headspace to play given the current news? I have great games like Hollow Knight and Alien Isolation to start, but I can't bring myself to and keep favouring comfort games. I mean, I think that's why I'm playing like loads of Animal Crossing because you can just do that.
And we touched on the fact that Last of Us Part 2 is coming out soon, and
is it
suddenly? Oh yeah, good point. Good point.
But yeah, no, totally. Like even obviously it's different, but yeah, playing a sad game about a plague. No thanks. But as we've said, like some people choose to sort of dive into that stuff.
Exactly, yeah. It's take your mind off the real situation, so it's not...
Yeah. Loads of people will watch... Is it Contagion? Loads of people started watching that. I haven't seen it. No, apparently it's very good, though.
How was it?
It's like all those people that started playing Plague Inc., wasn't it? Like when this all began as well.
So that is a form of therapy for some people, I think. But yeah, personally, my attitude is to avoid the thing rather than confront it, so... Yeah, and like on Hollow Knight as well. Actually, now that I think about it, once you like actually figure out the story, that's about a plague of sorts as well. So that's
And also, I don't know if you felt this, Matt, but there are scenes in Final Fantasy VII where I was kind of like, fuck, especially around the train stations where people seem so confused about everything that's going on.
Yeah, that sort of collapse of infrastructure and normality, sort of hits home as well.
That drummed that home a little bit close to the bone. That.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Ben Simon at Scientologist on Twitter. I just have a quick question about staff roles at TCGS HQ. I know Matt is one of these marketing hipster types, but is it correct to have him in charge of the socials when you have a GMA nominee for Best Twitter also on the show? Is this truly best for business?
Yeah, that was me. That was weird. I don't really know how that happened, to be honest. Steve Hoggerty won it, and rightly so. I was never nominated again since. Don't really know how that happened at all. Like no one ever admitted to being the person who put me forward for it. So yeah,
just a secret.
We forget those. We are actually, and we're not going to go into why, Matt. But
double award winners actually, because I also won it for my agency Twitter. After the year after that as well. So yeah, I'm a double Twitter award winner. So
yeah, I'm a Twitter award winner technically. I would have killed. We won't go into it. we won't go into it, but Matt and I wrote an acceptance speech that had to be read out when we won. I would have killed to have seen what that looked like. I wish that there was video evidence of that happening, because the acceptance speech was absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, so double award winner or nominee. Think we'll go
and to
with
be
winner.
clear, pretty much every time I've announced something on the TCGS account, I get something wrong, and I'm just like, oh, fuck, this is why Matt normally does it. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I can't be arsed.
I love it. Mark at Mark IEJ and loads of underscores on Twitter. Fuck, marry, kill. Dreamcast 2, Nintendo Switch Pro Plus Extra, or the N-Gage 4K.
I mean, kill the N-Gage.
Yeah, kill the N-Gage even from me.
Shag the Dreamcast, marry the Switch.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's the answer.
Yeah,
that's the answer.
And I would. Okay.
Go on.
No, I was just getting it there. Actually, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Well, just a couple of things before we get onto socials. First being, Matt, have you listened to Gossip Mongers yet? Like yesterday, you promised that you would.
Yeah, I listened to the first episode and a half. It's brilliant. I laugh lots.
Good, excellent. Sean, how are you getting on with Yakuza?
It's a great game. I haven't got back to it yet.
Why don't you? Just
haven't got back to it yet, but I will do one day.
Absolute
It's a great
bollocks.
game. I've always said it's a
Just
great game.
admit it didn't grab you. Fucking hell. All right, let's do socials.
Before that, I'm going to do a bit of a PSA. We've had lots of people tweeting about basically having my taken out a Nintendo account and this and that. And I've just seen some other articles tonight, actually, from Nintendo Life and Eurogamer, who also comment on the basically people seem to be taking money and buying like V-Bucks through like Nintendo Switch accounts, and it might be a PayPal thing. It basically, everyone listening, either put on two-factor authentication on your Switch, or just remove like payment options for your Switch, because I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I when I heard about it the other day, I took off PayPal and my card off my Switch account. It's just not worth it.
Is it credit cards as well, or is it? I thought it was just PayPal. Or is it changed?
I think a lot of people mentioned PayPal, but I've just done both just to be sure. But basically, everyone go to the Nintendo website. You can turn on your two-step verification on your Nintendo Switch account to do that, because that feels like it might be a thing that's going around. So I thought I'd mention that. Anyway, this Friday, James is starting a new streaming series, and he's streaming Dreams.
Yeah, I'm going to do Dreams this Friday. Also, this week, I think on Thursday, there'll be a final Animal Crossing stream as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to do one final one this week.
You were so adamant that you never wanted to do it again.
No, there's reasons. There's reasons for it.
There are reasons.
It's, yeah.
I'll be there, mate.
Okay.
I think that starts a bit earlier, doesn't it? Is that 8 o'clock or 8:30?
Did you
Arrangements haven't been confirmed yet, but
did you order a Tom Nook costume? Is this where this is going?
No, I'm not. Come on, I'm not Matt.
Anyway, so
and you never will be.
On Thursday night, there will be an Animal Crossing stream. I think from like 8 or 8:30. But just follow us on Twitter.
Check Twitter
at Computer Game on Twitter. And then the day after, James is back for Dreams Friday night at 9 p.m. And
that's going to be a crack. I can't wait for that.
So the idea, James,
I need to commit to a day for Disaster Report, don't I?
It's all about you, isn't it?
Well, no, because I keep just not mentioning it.
About you,
I think if I just say now that I'm going to do a day, then that's it. I've committed. I think basically the problem is it'll have to shift around a little bit depending on what my wife's working on any given week. I think if we just say going forward, like probably Tuesday or Wednesday night, I'm going to do a Disaster Report 4 stream. But yeah, subscribe on Twitch and then it'll just tell you whenever we go live.
Yes, do that, easy. And I'm going to hopefully finish Super Metroid on Sunday. That's Sunday at 8:30. I don't know what I'm streaming after that, but we'll work it out beforehand and or after. Before.
I know, because I know a lot of people saying do Symphony of the Night, which would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't played Symphony of the Night.
I don't know. I'm bored of an old game again straight away. I don't know.
Well, as the Master Chief himself once said, "Thanks for living it." We hope you're doing well. Take it easy, and we will catch you next week for more gaming chit chat. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Night.
Yeah, goodbye.
I felt like goodbye.
didn't tell her about Twitch Prime and Patreon. I can't believe it.